Hey, hey. Oops. What's happening, guys? If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is PurplexedQT. And how you guys doing today? So just put a disclaimer. I worked all day, so I don't know what's happening with the case. I only saw a couple of little things here and there. So if someone could fill me in, would be awesome. Thank you, Paris. Another afternoon live, and I have to get the lawn done. Like, no joke today. Hi, Hybrid Pieces. Hey, Carol. Hey, Florida Keys. Hey, Paris. Hey, Kim. Hey, Susie. Hey, Glitter Girl. Hey, Val. Hey, D. Hey, Mojo. Hey, Private Eye. Hey, Red Dragon. Well, everyone in Amber's whole life has gone up and spoke about her. Just friends and family saying Amber is a saint. Come back at 1:30 Central. Perfect. So it worked out. Hey, Crazy Nurse Granny. So here's the thing. One of my beloved Patreons said that somebody put out a video. I'm not going to mention names, but somebody put out a video and gave a really good case of why this was murder, or why he believes she was charged with murder. So I want to show you guys something. Or actually read you guys something that I found just to confirm that that's not accurate. And give me one moment to pull it up. Okay. So in Texas, let me move this over here. Get you guys back on screen. Okay. So in Texas, the law states that Section 1902, murder, just murder, adequate cause means cause that would commonly produce a degree of anger, rage, resentment, or terror in a person of ordinary temper sufficient to render the mind incapable of cool reflection. Meaning, did you go fucking ballistic on the person? 2, sudden passion, passionate killing, directly caused by and or arising out of provocation by the individual killed or another acting with the person killed, which passion arises at the time. So, a passion killing. B, a person commits offensive murder if he intentionally or knowingly causes the death of another. 2, intends to cause serious bodily injury and commits an act clearly dangerous to human life that causes the death, but the key word in that is intends. 3, commits or attempts to commit a felony. That one just goes through if, it's a felony that somebody died. And C is except as provided by subsection D, an offense under this section is a felony of the first degree at the punishment stage, blah, blah, blah. That's it. That's murder. Yep, but D, this is what is so confusing, and I believe the jurors did not get this right. Cops are taught to kill. They do not fire warning shots. They intend to kill. When a cop draws their gun, they intend to kill their target. There is no such thing as a warning shot. A cop is gonna pull out their gun. They better shoot them dead. There is no, yes, Amelia, but that's not murder. That's manslaughter. And the jury got it wrong, and I'm telling you, she's going to win that on appeal. What she could have done is not the issue. The issue is it murder? It is not murder. It's not murder. It's manslaughter. It's gross, negligent manslaughter. It's not murder. She intended to kill him because as a cop, that's how you're trained. They're mixing how you're taught as trained police officer and a normal person. It is manslaughter. It is not, as a cop, she has no duty to retreat. That's exactly right. Jermaine, you could say whatever you want. This is fact. You don't have to be a lawyer. This is fact. She did not draw down, use her sight, and aim as if she were a sniper with a target in sight. She drew a gun, used her training, and fired in the direction of the ceiling mass. She had the skills and training to help. Amelia, I don't disagree with that, but that's why it's manslaughter. That's after the fact. No, murder is in the first degree according to the Dallas law, Texas law. So why did she not try to save? That I can't help you. That I can't tell you. I'm just saying the charge of murder is wrong. It should be manslaughter. And the law doesn't say unless you're a police officer. And that's true, Dee, and that's where her lawyers failed her, because you are, as a cop, you are trained shoot to kill, period. You do not fire a warning shot. She should have gotten manslaughter. Absolutely correct. They haven't ruled yet, Anita. Not rendering aid in Texas is murder? She offered some help. Thank you, GB. Her actions were a little slow, but she did offer some help. I think 911 call and no life-saving attempt is why murder was... But she did call 911. She will appeal and she will win that. Amelia, see, I thought the same thing, but somebody said that he was alive then. Not rendering aid in Texas is a crime, yes. It does not equal murder. I agree. Jermaine, you're an idiot. How do you know that she didn't want him to live? I can't deal with stupidity comments. I really can't. You have no idea if she wanted him to live. Let me guess, you're black and you're assuming that she's racist and she didn't want him to live. I hate when people make assumptions like that. That's different, honey. If she didn't act like she wanted him to live, that's one thing. But saying she didn't want him to live is dumb. Thank you, Heather. I just hate dumb comments. She was distraught. Absolutely, Crazy Nurse Granny. You can hear her saying stuff like, stay with me, buddy. That doesn't sound like she didn't want him to live. She kept his airway open, put pressure on the wound, something. She did nothing. According to testimony, the EMTs didn't have blood on them either. There you go. EMTs didn't have blood on them either. We still don't know, Angel. She didn't check. Hey, Ziggy, she didn't check positive for weed. And that's okay, then state it your opinion. Don't say that she didn't want him to live, because that would be like you heard that, and that's an opinion. Do you think she did make many deadly mistakes, but under Texas law, it's not murder. Exactly, Heather. Some EMTs testified they did have blood, okay, then, and wore gloves that were covered in blood. Sentencing didn't happen yet, Amanda. I agree, Neutralizer. It's not murder. I just read the law. How grounds, all cops shoot to kill. That is fact. It's been going on for 2 days already, Anita. We're waiting. She had no reason to want him dead. She'd be much better off if he was alive. So maybe she was just really freaked out by it. Why would she want him dead? I did watch a lot of it, Honey Bunches. I just don't agree with it. If it's intentional, yes, D. If it's intentional. Jermaine, I'm not doing this whole race bullshit. Yeah, but honey, by that time she knew it wasn't her apartment. So she wouldn't have been a hero. How do we know how it would feel if we walked into the wrong apartment, killed a resident, and realized wrong house? I would be freaked, overwhelmed, and confused. I agree with that, Crazy Nurse Granny. She did intend to kill him because cops shoot to kill. They don't fire warning shots. That's fact. This is the one part of this that everyone's forgetting that's so important. Ask any police officer. Cops shoot to kill. There is no such thing as a warning shot ever. Off duty, on duty. Can a cop make that distinction? Yes. But if you are disoriented and you walk into your house and you see a figure or a guy, whatever, and you get scared, are you going to wait to find out if this guy has a gun on him? No, you're going to shoot to kill. No matter where you are, you draw that gun, you shoot to kill. Period. End of story. No questions asked. She wanted to eliminate the threat. Absolutely, Tink. Everyone always says that. I read the carpet was different, like his place had tile and hers carpet. Smelled like weed. Laura, the evidence clearly showed he was sitting on the couch. Yes, I understand that. But there was, and I'm not saying that there was a threat, but after 15 hours working or 13 hours working, you don't know what she felt. You don't know what she saw. And maybe she kept jewelry under the couch. I don't know. I don't know her state of mind. Amanda, I would do the same thing. Taser, you have to get close to somebody. Do you feel that race was a factor with the jury? No, I don't. But I feel like they're making an example out of her. And I hate to say it, but I do. She was not drunk. She just came off a like 12 or a 13-hour shift of special forces or something. $75 feet. That's not a lot. She was too distracted to be carrying a gun. This makes me think she should have never been a cop. Well, that's neither here nor there, Ziggy. Hey, Jay, whether she should have been a cop or not, that I can't say. I think a lot of cops shouldn't be cops. Exactly. It should be manslaughter. Absolutely. And Jermaine, I agree with you. But there was no motive. She had no reason. But honey, it's Dallas. There's a lot of black people there. Why didn't she shoot some, hood from the street? Well, Tink, that no, I don't think anyone's going to debate. No motive manslaughter. It's exactly right. Hey, Scottish. If I broke someone's apartment and killed someone, is that murder? In a way, yes. Because you're not trained to kill. I'm not annoyed with you, Puss in Boots. She's at least getting 15 years. Is that the minimum? No, minimum is 5. But being that they charged her with murder instead of manslaughter, I think they're going to I think they're going to throw the book at her. But at the same time, the positive side is maybe this is kind of a good thing. Because maybe, just maybe, other cops that are so trigger happy will not be so trigger happy. Because if she gets the book thrown at her, maybe, just maybe, they'll think twice about just killing someone out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Or being just trigger happy. Throwing the book, you mean she's going to do life. Like, she'll do 60 years to life. Yeah, I'm pulling it up now. No, this wasn't a case trigger happy. I'm saying that maybe for the future, guys that are trigger happy, or cops, I should say guys, cops that are trigger happy will think twice. That's what I'm saying. Shady, don't get me wrong. It's still manslaughter, but under Texas law, it's not murder. That's all I'm saying.
Latasha Barnes and Judge Phyllis Collins. Thank
Think twice and get killed. I think she was scared and made a split-second decision that cost someone their life. Jermaine, I'm right there with you. I totally agree with that. And the other question is, did she, because I don't remember, did she, hey, Brendan Dassey made Court TV headline. They're asking for clemency. So just had to throw that up there that Brendan Dassey's on the bottom of Court TV. I don't know. I just, you know what it is though? It's nice to see Court TV showing Brendan and Steven info. I'm happy with that. That's cool. We like that. That's something. Something for making a murderer. All right, predictions. What do you think she's going to get? Bye, honey bunches. 20 to 40. She went in to kill without knowing he was a threat. She was going to kill whoever was in there. Oh, I felt bad for his mom. 20 years. Thank you, Jermaine. How we went from fighting to now we're buddies, I don't know, but okay. I'll take it. Hey, Pop Trauma. So most of you guys say 20 to 30. 26 serve 15. 25 to life. Yeah, I'm going to stream it once it starts. I know Texas is unpredictable. I agree with that. All right, man. We're good. She didn't get sentenced, yes. We're still waiting. At least I'm telling you, I think they're going to hit her like 50 years. It comes back in about 3 minutes. I got it ready. They may never come back from that 45. I'm telling you, dude, this judge takes more breaks than I've ever seen a judge take in my entire life. I'm like, she must be a smoker because I can't imagine why she takes so many breaks. Yeah, I think they're done with impact statements. I'm telling you, I think after hearing that mother and what a positive man this man was and how he wasn't from the hood and, you know, he had a beautiful family and church-going family in the Bible Belt, I think they're going to give her 50 years. I think they're really going to take away her life. I don't know why, I just do. Because why should she see the light of day again? And he never will. Jermaine, I totally agree with you. I said that yesterday. I said, I know the judge isn't deciding anything, but I think it's absolutely disgusting that she keeps showing emotion. Sarah Dippity, check your Facebook. I sent you a message. A retired judge said whatever sentence she gets, she can parole in half the time. I did. I had to work. But I agree with Jermaine. This judge is showing way too much emotion, and it's such bullshit. And judge should never show emotion, ever.
We come back, hopefully things will be underway in the penalty phase of Amber Guyger's trial, and we will see whether she will testify. As we go to break, let's listen to one person who cannot speak, and that is Botham Jean. Here's some video of him singing as we head to break.
Tonight on Court TV.
Former police officer Amber Guyger is a convicted murderer. Now the jury that found her guilty of killing Botham Jean in his own apartment must now determine her punishment. Guyger must wait to find out how much of her life will be spent in prison. Our teams are live in Dallas with every update in the wrong apartment murder trial.
Closing arguments with Vinnie Politan. Tonight, starting at 6/5 Central on the all-new Court TV.
Vinnie Politan.
We received this today.
It looks like some sort of ransom note.
And look how much they're asking for.
Ma'am, this is a...
All right. So we'll wait for it to come back on. I hate Court TV commercials. I've seen no emotional judge, maybe judgmental, but no emotional. Oh, Slippery, really? This judge is making facial expressions all over the place. I've never seen a judge do that before. Rolling her eyes, getting aggravated. Court TV was gone for many, many years. And then they brought it back. I don't watch it on TV. It's on my computer. I did make CNN. CNN Politics. This better not go till tomorrow, though. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, Court TV turned into True TV, and then it came back to Court TV, right, Capone? What I've seen should be grounds for an appeal. I absolutely agree with that. Oh, she hasn't? I've seen him make a couple things. Because even, like, his picture, why is his picture on the judge's stand? I've never seen that before. That, you're not supposed to have that. As far as I know, I've never seen that in a trial before. Where his full picture, like an 8x10, is on the actual judges stand. Only time I've seen emotions, both sides not favoring one or the other. Judge is human. Yeah, but judges aren't supposed to be human. They're going to... I agree, Brady. I think she's going to get like 50 years. Is it pictured? I don't know if it was, but I noticed it yesterday. I was like, why is that picture? I'll show you guys what I mean when they do it again. I thought it was very odd. You've also never been on a trial or a... No, but I've watched a lot of them. I wasn't a trial. I was in my own trial. They did in a Rosenbaum trial. They kept the child's picture up on the screen. Oh, did they? Yeah, but that was a child. Hey, Nini. Exactly. It's like what they do at a funeral, and that's weird. They do the Tex MacGyver trial. Was it Kid Scouty Girl? I love it when she went off about the shoes. She looks like Piper on Orange is the New Black. Nah, Piper's prettier. Have to watch Slade. It's inappropriate for me to be laughing at work. Oh, someone said Texas always does that. Okay. That makes sense. Alright, let's see.
Botham Jean's mother describing the absolute worst moment of her entire life. Her son, her beloved son, had been killed. Now, Amber Guyger, convicted murderer, former Dallas police officer who shot Botham Jean, is in the punishment phase of her trial in Dallas, Texas. We are so glad you were with us here on Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. Court is expected to resume at any moment. As soon as that happens, we're going to take you in there live, we promise.
I want to know why everyone on Court TV has beautiful Pantene hair. That's what I want to know. They all have the same hair color, where it's highlighted brown to make it look like it's not really highlighted, but it is. I agree, Allison. Now we have the experts. I don't care about the experts. They're all chipper. No, they all have perfect Pantene hair. Probably the same hairdresser. Good point. I love the highlights that they try to make aren't highlights. They're highlights, lady. When Savannah Guthrie was on Court TV back in the day. They don't get these jobs with skanky hair. Yeah, I know, but they don't even look like extensions. They all just have this natural, beautiful hair. I know that they fix it, but I'm saying they still have to... They still have perfect hair. I don't remember Megyn Kelly. I remember the name. I know a reporter in Alabama that spends the money on her hair. She's so cute. I have to get my hair done. I'm very jealous of their hair. I want beautiful, perfect Italian curly hair. All right, here we go. I think. Judge should not drink water. Because now she's going to have to go to the bathroom again.
Hold on 1 second before you go. How much time would you all like?
Oh my God.
Sorry. Did you say 20 minutes?
20 minutes?
Will it be YouTube doing the argument?
That's correct. I'll do open and close, Your Honor.
Okay, and let me make sure I write this down. Ms. Nicholson will open.
See where the picture is? That's what I mean. Right here, this.
And what type of warning would you like?
Could you let me know when I have, I'll plan to use half the time, so 10 minutes when I have 3 minutes left, Your Honor.
I've never seen this before. Whoop.
So when you hit the 7-minute mark, what are you doing next?
I don't know, Passion Fruit. I was wondering the same thing.
Mr. Roberts, are you going to do it all? Did you like
Thanks, Marie.
Tell me, I have 2 minutes left.
And I try not to interrupt y'all at a wrong spot. So if I say you got 1 minute, that's because I didn't want to interrupt at 2 minutes. And Mr. Shook, if you go over, I'll add that to Ms. Long. And Ms. Long, what type of warning would you like?
Just a 2-minute warning, Your Honor.
Is it way behind Long Crime?
I lost my phone, so I don't lost it. I've left it somewhere, so the bailiffs are looking for it. I didn't know we were going to go right into argument, so let me see. That's my timer. See if we can find it properly left. Okay.
We heard the defense there saying they are resting in this punishment phase
Finally.
of Amber Guyger's murder trial. The big question going into this afternoon was Amber Guyger going to take the stand again to try to help herself in this phase of the trial? And now we're learning the answer to that question is no. Amber Guyger is not going to testify again. No audio coming from the courtroom right now. Just see the back of Amber Guyger's head there. She's been pretty statue-like, as Chanley Painter has said, not really showing much in the way of movement or even emotional. Let's listen in live and see what the judge says next.
Here it is, Brendan Dassey.
Now, I know you all are all emotionally invested in this, but it is really not fair for you to have commentary to the testimony that's being provided. The triers of fact are sitting in the jury box, and whatever commentary you're having or saying, it's not coming from the witness statement, so it shouldn't be part of their consideration, which is why I ask you to remain quiet while people are testifying. So please, let's keep our comments to ourselves, at least while you're inside the courtroom. There are plenty of other outlets or avenues for you to make your feelings known as to what has been stated within the courtroom. And if you have commentary or you have reactions to the arguments of counsel, be they on either side, I'm going to ask that the bailiffs remove you. Because the input, whatever the evidence is, it has come from the witness stand. And as I said, the finders of fact are sitting in the box. They don't need any additional information being imparted to them that is not sworn to.
Then why have it?
Allowed to be cross-examined. Okay?
Then what the fuck was the point of having it? Hey, Daily Poppins. Having the witnesses talk afterwards. She's telling them, ignore everything they say. It has nothing to do with anything. All the information you need is in the box of documents. She basically said to ignore everything you heard in the last 2 days. That's what I'm saying. Why bother?
We have learned that the defense has rested its case in the punishment phase here of Amber Guyger's murder trial. The next thing that will happen will be closing arguments. We're going to squeeze in a quick break here on Court TV Live while things are quiet in that Dallas County courtroom. When we come back, we're going to hear from both sides in Amber Guyger's murder trial. Don't go anywhere. Court TV Live continues after this.
I don't know who takes more breaks, Court TV or the judge. I thought you were talking about the public's reaction to lawyers closing arguments. No, she was saying that everything that she had, like everything that is important is in the boxes. You know, all the actual evidence. There is nothing that they have. There's nothing that these people said that should change anything. JCD, there's plenty of other places you can go where you want to hear talking. You want me to help you exit? She's not guilty? You're a fucking idiot. See ya. Parents do not have to be present. It's their choice to be part of the trial. Yeah, she was referring to some chit-chat. I agree, Allison. I don't know why Texas does this. It's kind of weird. Go to WFAA, no commercials. Come on, you don't want to see all these stuff you can buy at Walmart? Is that a good pan, though? I need a good pan. I don't know, Slippery Slope, because they're trolls. I think I'm going to buy one. Make McMuffins. 90% of as seen on TV you could buy at Walmart. Yeah, I have a little egg pan too. It does work good. Thanks, Kim. It's pretty good. I like my copper one from Walmart though. Laura Stream's Brayman. Ah, thanks, Paris. Jury coming back now. All right, what channel is it on, did you guys say? WFAA.
And keep everything on the field. Again, these are tremendously experienced attorneys and very capable and competent counsel, so there's no doubt they will have the ability to do that, but you want to make sure that nothing sneaks in that could be error to cause this case to have a more meaningful review on appeal.
Hey,
We'll just sit here and watch and wait for the jury since I think they're about to come in.
That's right, Marie. Bed Bath & Beyond has it as seen on TV, and you could use a $20 off coupon, 20% coupon. There she goes. I can't stream YouTube, Greg. You can't stream something else. You can't stream YouTube on YouTube. You get shut down. Yeah, right, Mojo? Stewie's in the basement. Maybe Jerry's locked in the bathroom. Maybe she is pregnant. You never know. See, here's where sexist comes into play too. Whoops. Why is she not handcuffed like every other murderer? Why is she special? Because she's a cop or because she's a woman? And I mean that seriously. I don't know if she went home last night. But she was still convicted of murder. Yeah, but Law and Crime and TV does it to YouTube. I can't do that.
All right.
I can't stream another YouTube. So if she spent the night in jail, why isn't she in handcuffs? She should be in handcuffs. Thank you, Sassafras.
What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that you have heard all of the testimony that you will hear in this phase of the trial.
I don't know why she's so low.
Innocence, I will now read to you the charge that should govern your deliberations. And I will have multiple copies made at the conclusion here to provide.
That's as high as it goes on both devices.
The charge reads as follows. Members of the jury, the defendant, Amber Guyger, has been found guilty by you of the offense of murder. The court has received and accepted your verdict of guilty, and you will no longer concern yourselves with the innocence or guilt of the defendant. You shall now limit your deliberations under all the law and evidence in this case to the question of punishment, which it is now your duty to assess. The punishment authorized for the offense of murder is by the imprisonment in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for life.
Is that better?
For a term of not more than 99 years or less than 5 years. In addition thereto, a fine may be assessed not to exceed $10,000. Our law provides that at the punishment phase of the trial, wherein the jury determines the punishment to be assessed in the case, the defendant may raise the issue as to whether she caused the death of Uncle John while under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause. The defendant must prove this issue by a preponderance of the evidence. Sudden passion means passion directly caused by and arousing out of provocation by the individual killed or acting with the person killed which passion arises at the time of the offense and is not solely the result of former provocation. Adequate cause means cause that would commonly produce a degree of anger, rage, resentment, or terror in a person of ordinary temper sufficient to render the mind incapable of cool reflection. The burden of proof is by a preponderance of the evidence, and that burden rests on the defendant. Preponderance of the evidence means the greater weight of the credible evidence. If you find from the evidence by a preponderance of the evidence that on the occasion in question, at the time of the commission of the offense, the defendant, Amber Guyger, caused the death of Botham John, while she, Amber Guyger, was under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause, you will so state in your verdict and assess the defendant's punishment at not less than 2 years, nor more than 20 years imprisonment in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. In addition, you may assess a fine not to exceed $10,000. If you do not so find by a preponderance of the evidence, you will so state in your verdict and assess the defendant's punishment at life or not more than 99 years, nor less than 5 years imprisonment in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. In addition, you may assess a fine not to exceed $10,000. You are instructed that in assessing the defendant's punishment, you may take into consideration all of the facts and evidence admitted before you in the full trial of this case, and the law as submitted to you in this charge and the charge heretofore given to you by the court. You are instructed that if there is any testimony before you in this case regarding the defendant having committed offenses or bad acts other than the offense of which you have found the defendant guilty, you may not consider such evidence unless you find and believe beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed such offenses or bad acts, if any. The burden is upon the prosecution to prove such extraneous offenses or bad acts beyond a reasonable doubt. The prosecution's proof must exclude all reasonable doubt concerning the extraneous offense or bad act. Therefore, if you find and believe beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant committed an extraneous offense or bad act, then you may consider such evidence in assessing the defendant's punishment. If you do not so find, or you have a reasonable doubt as to whether the defendant committed an extraneous offense or bad act, then you may not consider such evidence, if any, in assessing punishment. You are instructed that the defendant may testify in her own behalf if she elects to do so. But if she chooses not to do so, that fact cannot be taken as a circumstance against her, nor prejudice her in any way. The defendant has elected not to testify in this punishment phase of the trial, and you are instructed that you cannot and must not refer to or allude to that fact throughout your deliberations or take into consideration for any purpose whatsoever as a circumstance against the defendant. The length of time for which a defendant is imprisoned may be reduced by the award of parole. Under the law applicable in this case, if the defendant is sentenced to a term of imprisonment, the defendant will not become eligible for parole until the actual time served equals 1/2 of the sentence imposed, or 30 years, whichever is less. If the defendant is sentenced to a term of less than 4 years, the defendant must serve at least 2 years before the defendant is eligible for parole. Eligibility for parole is not. The defendant must serve at least 2 years before the defendant
Is that better?
is eligible for parole. Eligibility for parole does not guarantee apply to this particular defendant. You are instructed.
Is that better?
In determining the punishment in this case, you are not to discuss amongst yourselves how long the defendant will be required to serve any sentence you decide to impose. Such matters come within the exclusive jurisdiction of the Board of Pardons and Paroles and are of no concern of yours. You are further instructed that your verdict must be unanimous and shall be arrived at by due deliberation and not by drawing lots or any other method of chance. nor shall you add any combination of figures and divide the answer thereto. You are the exclusive judges of the facts proved, of the credibility of the witnesses, and of the weight to be given their testimony. But you are bound to receive the law from the court, which is herein given you, and be governed thereby. When you have reached a unanimous verdict, the presiding juror shall fill in and sign the verdict form that conforms to your verdict, and then announce to the officer who has you in charge that you have reached the verdict. Signed, Judge Tammy Kemp. And then the verdict form reads as follows. You may only select one. We, the jury, unanimously find by a preponderance of the evidence that the defendant caused the death of Botham John while under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause, and assess the defendant's punishment at, you have to select the number between 2 and 20 years, imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. In addition, we assess a fine of, you can put any number, 0 to 2,000. And then, of course, there's a signature line for the presiding juror to sign her name and then to print her name. Or, we the jury find unanimously that the defendant did not cause the death of Botham John while under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause, and assess the defendant's punishment at, and there you will select either life or a number between 99 and 5. Imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. In addition, we assess a fine of, and there's a blank, and if you so decide, you'll put a number between 0 and 10,000. And then again, there's the signature lines for the presiding juror to sign her name and then to print her name. What says the state?
State's ready, Your Honor. May it please the court, counsel, members of the jury. The past few weeks have led to today. In fact, almost a month ago, we started the jury selection process. But all of that brings us to today. And what is today? Today is the day that Botham Jean, his murderer, is going to be punished for unjustly taking his life. We're in the punishment phase now. You 12 will be charged with assigning and assessing this defendant's punishment, and you'll have to come up with a unanimous decision as to how many years should this defendant serve in prison for murdering Botham. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? You've got to learn today a little bit over the past few days about how bright Botham was, how much his family loved him, his coworkers loved him, practically anyone who's ever met him loved him. And that was only a small glimpse into the life of Bo. You also got to hear from those that love the defendant and the good things that she's done. And in punishment, you get to consider all of this. And you should consider all of this. Because now's the time that you make your decision as to what is a just punishment. What is appropriate for the horrible crime that has occurred here.
Yeah, no joke, Paris.
You know, we spent some time talking with Bo, friends, family. They told you how loving he was.
All right, I'm going to put this back on the TV so I don't have to hold my phone for the next hour.
He spent a life wanting to help others, and you get to take that into consideration as to who this individual was and how this affects not only the Jean family, but all of us. We all were robbed of Botham and the greatness that he brought to Dallas County. But honestly,
Aries, why was Positive Panther timed out?
had his life not been taken from him. knows what his impact could have truly been had his life not been taken from him. We also brought you
baby
some more
did it.
information that you might not have been aware of about the defendant and her character. And that's something that you get to take into consideration as well. You know, people only get to see the sides of you that you show them.
Yo, this channel sucks for
But
sound.
who are people when they really trust you? When they really feel like they can trust you, that's who they're going to show you who they truly are. And what did the defendant...
We all were robbed of both
See,
of
look
them
how much better
and the
Court TV
greatness that
is.
he brought to Dallas County.
Don't be telling me change
But
from Court
honestly,
TV.
Who knows what his impact could have truly have been had his life not been taken from him. We also brought you some more information that you might not have been aware of about the defendant and her character. And that's something that you get to take into consideration as well. You know, people only get to see the sides of you that you show them. But who are people when they really trust you? When they really feel like they can trust you, that's who they're going to show you who they truly are. And what did the defendant show us? In State's Exhibit 357, the state presented a copy of an item on social media that the defendant tagged to her Pinterest account. We also presented another piece of evidence that the defendant has saved to her Pinterest account in State's Exhibit 358 and also in 359. And I anticipate that the defense is going to argue that these are dark humor, just jokes, maybe even cop humor. But is this really the kind of things that we want our officers joking about? And not just the memes themselves, but take a look at the comments and what's written down. That will really show you what this defendant had in her heart when no one else was looking. The things that, even if they are a joke, she found funny. But what does she write underneath these? You look at that. But let's say you want to say that these are just jokes, and I get it, because there can be dark humor out there. But there's no joke in these text messages. These text messages to where on September 4th, 2018, 2 days prior to the defendant murdering Bo, she's joking about a racist dog. And she responds, and you can see it in here, and you'll be able to take this exhibit to read it for yourself, that it's okay, I'm the same. That's what this defendant is telling her friends when no one else is looking. And then if you go down a little bit further, I hate everything and everyone but y'all. Who's the y'all she's talking about? Who does this defendant really care about? And then the MLK parade. You got to hear that the defendant was joking about the death of Dr. Martin Luther King, a man who brings so much inspiration to all of us, a man who quite a few individuals, you remember those jury questionnaires when we asked you who you admire the most or who you admire the least? Guess whose name came up? Dr. Martin Luther King. And it should, because he talked about love, equality, justice, not judging a person by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. That's who Dr. Martin Luther King was, and that's why so many people admire him. And so while working the Martin Luther King Day Parade in January 2018, what did we learn about the defendant? She's mocking his death. And if that's not bad enough, what does the defendant suggest other officers do to people who have gathered to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy? She's suggesting the use of force by police, just push them, or spray or pepper spray in the general area? Is this how we're supposed to be treating people? Is this what it means when we say we want to serve and protect the community? Which community are we talking about? Again, this is punishment. You get to take all of this into consideration, and you get to weigh this evidence. And each one of you can make that determination for yourselves. And last but not least, when that message the defendant sent about I only care about y'all, we found out that y'all might not include fellow officers, because the defendant and Martin Rivera seem to have certain thoughts about black officers. I don't know what you do with that. How does that make sense? A fellow brother or sister in blue, but we're going to make a distinction because of the color of their skin. And according to the defendant, they have different way of working, and it shows. Thank you, Judge. Again, these are the things that you get to consider when you, what is a just and appropriate punishment. And you'll have an evidence to take back with you, State's Exhibit number 356. In this exhibit, when you turn to page 6, it started about 10:30 p.m. on September 8, 2018, you're going to see how the defendant truly showed her remorse for the death of both of them. While his family is planning his funeral, you're going to see what she and Martin Rivera were talking about and what they were planning to do. Is that a remorseful person? You get to decide that. And then lastly, I just want to say about this charge, when it comes to the fine doesn't go to the family. Do not concern yourselves about a fine. In fact, write 0 or none. That fine will not go to the Botham family. You can disregard that. But you'll have to come up with a number unanimously. There's a wide range of punishment for murder here in the state of Texas. 5 to 99 years or life. Some of you may say, this isn't a life case. Some of you may feel differently. Some of you say, this isn't a minimum case, and don't let the defense get up here and disrespect you by telling you that this case is deserving of a minimum punishment. You've heard who Botham was and what he means to his family and all of us. This is not a 5-year, 10-year, or 15-year case. And I'm confident that when you go back there to deliberate, you will assess a just and appropriate punishment.
Let me tell you something. That's bullshit what she just said. It's not a 5-year, 10-year, or 15-year case. Oh, so someone else's life is only worth 5 or 10? Fuck that. That was such a dumb statement.
Counsel, members of the jury.
Whose life is only worth 5?
The hardest thing a criminal defense attorney can do after a finding of guilt of his client is addressing the jury, obviously, in the punishment stage. But in doing that, the first thing I want to do is thank you for your deliberations in guilt innocence. We ask you to carefully consider the evidence in this case, and you took your time. It showed that you did that. You sent out notes, you asked for exhibits, and that showed that you were looking at both sides, that you were examining the case. You didn't have to do that, not all juries do. We appreciate that you took the time to do that. You didn't see it our way, but it's in your hands in this case, so we appreciate you took the time and took your oath seriously.
Susan, I'll explain what I mean when he's done.
And in Texas, it's unique because most states, a judge will assess punishment, but Texas, we let juries do that. And the legislature, for the crime of murder, sets a very wide range of punishment. Very wide range. Minimum 5 years for intentionally killing someone, committing murder, all the way to 99 years or life, and anywhere in between.
I don't know, Caslin. I'm trying to figure that out.
When we reach the punishment stage, the rules also allow the state of Texas to put in any offense, any bad acts they so choose that are relevant to this case for your consideration. They've done that. They put in some text strings, they put in some things from social media. In this day and age, when we have cell phones right at our disposal, when we can say things at a whim, whatever we're feeling that day, I would say that anyone in this courtroom obviously is going to regret something they say at some point in time in their life. What I want you to do is this. That may be one snapshot in time during the day, Mr. Guyger. But when you're deliberating this case, I'll ask you to look at the whole picture. the entire life of what you know in this case. Because the prosecution has alluded and will continue to argue that this true character is seen in some of these texts. She's cold-hearted, she is callous, she's a racist. I'll ask you to look at her whole life. When you start to consider that, I'd like you to look at LaWanda Clark. How Amber Guyger treated her. 2017, when she was in that crack house, Amber Guyger came and found her. Said, "You don't fit the profile here. What are you doing here?" Kept coming back to her. And finally went to her and said, "You've got two things can happen. You're either going to continue down this road to drugs, or you're going to get a ticket out of here." She gave her a ticket to go to a drug court. LaWanda told you that what that made her feel. For the first time in a long time, she felt human again. She had hope that this person, this officer, would take interest in her. And it changed her life. She made it through that court. She made it through the program. She sought Amber Guyger out, wanted her to come to her graduation, and they're both excited about it. And she's sober today. When you want to think about how callous and cruel she may be, think about that. Now she's touched a line. Think about her friend Kate, who she met when they were both working at Fridays. They worked hard because they had dreams, and they got to know each other better. They worked 5 or 6 years together. You get to know a person when you become close.
I know, Ziggy. I just realized that. That's why I changed it.
You spend every day working together, talk about their dreams. They became good friends. That continued. She told about one story when Amber drove all the way from Forney to Mansfield and then up to Frisco to help them get a changing table that she was expecting the first week. That the table dropped and Amber wouldn't go.
Daily Poppins, thank you.
But little stories tell you about character. When you consider how callous and cruel, or if you believe she's a racist, think about that. For our friends Maribel and Brenda.
Everyone, Purple Heart.
In 7th grade, 9th
Daily
grade.
Poppins.
Became close and best friends going to school. Remained so afterwards. Started a mariachi band together. She embraced their culture. Close friends. They say they can trust her more than anyone. Think about that when you're considering how cruel and heartless, or if you believe she's truly a racist. I want you to think about also what her family said. They're a close family. Amber was always an energetic, young, and bubbly child. We know that when she was 6, she was sexually abused.
Thank you, Daily Poppins.
Counseling. Her sister told us that she kept that inside. When Maribel said she didn't think Amber thought she deserved it, that's what she was talking about, effects of that. But she never wanted that to hold her back. She kept it inside and kept moving forward and had goals. She worked hard since she was 16. She wanted to be financially independent. She wanted to meet her goals.
What the hell does being molested of his child have to do with her killing somebody?
Support herself. She's always been close to her mother, who you can see is not in the best of health. She checks on her as a good daughter will. Not all daughters do that. Not all sons do that. But she does. When you think about her character and what her true character is, please reflect upon that.
Hey, Lady Liv.
Reflect upon those friends when they say she's the best friend they've had, to protect her, they're always there for them, always ready to surprise them, doing small things for them without being asked. Those people can judge character. They can judge a good person. The punishment range, as I told you, is very wide. The legislature, for intentionally killing someone, for murder, put it as low as 5 and up to 99 years in line. Why did they do that? I believe they did that because they recognize that every fact situation is different. Every murder is different. Everyone is unique, and they wanted the jury to have a full range of punishment.
That's what I said, Erica.
Decide what is appropriate in each and every individual case.
No, Carol. Closing arguments.
Some cases should be decided on the very high end. in some cases on the low. What do you think they were thinking about when they thought of the high? Were they thinking of someone who has dedicated their life and tried to do the right thing, worked hard, been a public servant, who went home one day without any intention in their mind of wanting to take a life?
But Kate Bronson, then she shouldn't have been a cop.
And they made a series of terrible, terrible mistakes. They made a decision in a moment of fear, of confusion.
I know, right? You hear those hiccups.
I don't think they were thinking about that situation when they were thinking of what's deserving and heavy in a murder case. I think they were thinking about people you've seen or heard, maybe the career criminal, someone who murders and takes a life for hate, for self-gain, who does so without remorse, who's never been a valuable member of society. I believe that's what they had in mind when they're thinking about sentencing someone to a long number of years, someone who has to be kept away from society because they're dangerous and will hurt people again.
I agree,
I
Raquel.
believe that's what they had in mind. I think on the lower end, I think of sometimes people make terrible, terrible mistakes. They have to be held accountable, but their life shouldn't be over. They can still be recovered and they can still be valued. All life is precious. Every individual killed in a murder case is a precious life. But we have this wide range of punishment. I would also ask you something similar to this in guilt. To keep focused just on this case. As you know, there's been immense media pressure.
You're welcome, Jay.
Of this case. We know in this nation that there have been controversial police shootings. We know there have been citizens killed by police in unjust means, and that police officers have gone free that should have been punished.
I agree.
This causes lots of heartache. This causes passions to run high.
See, this is where he's
So
smart.
I ask you, no matter
I
how
would
you feel
play
about
this
those
card
cases,
too.
Don't bring that into the jury room on this case. Look at it in its own unique circumstances. This case is not those cases. Amber Guyger wasn't on duty. She didn't pull.
I agree,
John
Amelia.
over. She didn't go there on a search warrant trying to break into his apartment.
No, I got rid of them. It was only once.
She just wanted to go home and do these horrible series of events. She went into his apartment by mistake. She pulled that trigger in an instant she'll regret the rest of her life. She made a mistake, and yet we know by your verdict it was an unreasonable mistake. We accept that. But it was still a mistake. She didn't go there seeking to kill him. Last thing in her mind. You may hear from the prosecution that you need to send a message. When a prosecutor asks juries to send messages, it's usually about deterrence. You have to stop other people from committing crimes by a message.
I agree, Kim.
I've done that myself when I was a prosecutor. I'll submit to you, those types of verdicts when you're asking for a message are for people who are planning to
I
commit
think they're
crimes.
going to give a 50, out in
You
25.
have a cartel coming into your city, your county, that are planning out crimes. Yes, you want to send a message to those people if you find them and convict them. If you have an organized gang who rob and terrorize neighborhoods, yes, you want to send a message to them that they should not commit those types of crimes. If you have police officers who potentially get together or bribe or shake down citizens, yes, you want to send a message to those people because they are planning crimes. But this event wasn't planned. This event is so unique, you'll never see it again in the history of the United States. That fate could come together in such a terrible way. This could have changed at any moment as these events unfolded. But they didn't. And it destroyed two wonderful people. I'll ask you to review Amber Guyger's full life. See the good in her, the love her family has for her, friends have her, the love and good things she's done. She was a public servant. She put her life on the line every day she went to work. I don't think anyone doubts she would have given it. We know before you start deliberations that Amber Guyger is a convicted felon. She'll be a convicted felon the rest of her life. We know she's going to go to prison. We know that she's a cop, an ex-cop who's going to go to prison. We know she's a cop that's going to go to prison for a crime that's been the most publicized in this county in years. And we know she can't hide there. You can imagine what awaits her. And if and when she gets out, she'll still be marked. She can't hide because of this case. She'll be shunned. She'll be a fraud. But it's nothing what punishment will be for herself. Because Amber Guyger has a conscience. She's shown true remorse. You've heard that from her friends, her family. You saw it on the stand. She feels horrible for what she did. And for the rest of her life, every day, every hour, every minute, she'll think of what she did to both of them, John, and regret it.
Really, Panther?
And every bit of her soul. Thank you.
You have 11 minutes, Ms. White.
You know what? I'm not sure. Because she's not a cop anymore.
That please the court, opposing counsel.
I agree, Medusa.
You all had the opportunity to hear Botham's beautiful voice. You all can take that disc back and listen to him sing. That is the voice that Alyssa, his sister, yearns to hear again. It is the voice that his father, Bertram, so desperately wants to hear again. The voice his mother, who called her Governor Joe, Gigi, that's what she took from that family. And for them to stand up here and talk about sudden passion is
Judge, I didn't mention sudden passion at all. I'll object to it.
It's in the charge. It's in the charge.
Judge, they agreed to that.
I understand, but it is in the charge.
But I
She
didn't
may
know.
argue the charge. Counsel did not argue sudden passion, but the state is permitted to argue the charge.
Let's talk a little bit about sudden passion. One, sudden passion is a reasonable person standard. Two, it does not apply here because Botham did not provoke his own death. He didn't provoke his own death. So take that sudden passion, move it to the side. So now let's talk about what was left after her actions, after she went in and did what she did? What was left? You have a family that will never be the same. Never. You have a community in St. Lucia that will never be the same. You heard how both of them would go out just into the community of St. Lucia, and he sang to a blind man, and he bought a lady a cake because her birthday was the same day as his mom's. How he would take his classmates from Harding University back to his home country to do great things.
But that's a good question, Dee. Will she be in federal or state?
He was always a person of uplifting, encouraging, bettering others. In his short 26 years on this earth, he has probably done more community service, public service help than majority of us combined. You have a university, Harding University, that will never be the same. Why? Because he is not here. He is not here to visit with his family. It's unfortunate that she is going to the penitentiary. And don't let them talk about, well, she can't hide in the penitentiary, she'll be a cop in the penitentiary. That's not for you to concern yourself with. Because they have measures in the penitentiary for such things like that. So don't concern yourself with that. The only reason we all sit in this courtroom today is because of her actions. And for her actions, there must be consequences. We heard Ms. Allison talk about this past Sunday, while many of the people in Dallas County were talking about the Cowboys and Saints game. Guess what this family was doing? They were warned because yet another year has passed that they were not able to celebrate Bolton's birthday with him. Right before he died, what did he want for his birthday? Some Drake tickets. He wanted to go to a concert. He wanted to do normal things that a mid-20-something-year-old young man wanted to do. And he couldn't, and he can't, because she did that. She took that away from him. So this past Sunday, he would have been 28 years old. 28 years. With so much potential. His co-worker, Carrie, said he could have written his own ticket because he was that smart, that outgoing, that educated, and everybody loved him. Everybody. This sentence that you all will give her, it can be anywhere on that spectrum. Anywhere. It just needs to be unanimous. And you think about, when you give that number, you think about those people sitting over there and reading. You think about that family, that they can't call him. They can't write him. They can't go visit him. These are all things that her and her family can get to do still today, even inside of the penitentiary. You think about the Christmases, the Mother's Days, the Father's Days. Bertram said, I took my baby, I made his bottles, I took him to school every day. We talked all the time. And he has this hurt and this pain in his heart. They will never, ever be the same. It will never be the same. And so I want to leave you all with this. preached a sermon at that church, and he made this quote, and it was something
come
that
on, that's
resonated
stupid.
with me. To him, to her, the defendant, he was just a silhouette in a room. But to anyone who ever met him, he was the brightest light in the room. And you saw that. He was Alexis' person. He was Alyssa's person. He was Brent's person. All of those individuals.
Yeah, it's nice for Bo, but come on.
And cherished every moment they had with Bo. So when you go back and you think about that, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to encourage you that the number you return should be no lower than 28 years, because that would have been what both of them would have celebrated on Sunday, his 28th birthday. It should be no lower than that. It's even at the short age of 26, he had a lot of life to give. He had a lot of love to give, not only to his family, but his community, his co-workers. And it should not have had to happen the way it did. This offense, this day, today is the day. Today is the day that you tell us, you tell her actions deserve consequences. Thank you.
The jury may return to deliberate this verdict.
All right.
And the verdict watch has begun. Both sides wrapping up their closing arguments in this sentencing phase. The last words by the prosecutor: her actions deserve consequences, regarding Amber Guyger. Now, I want to bring in criminal defense attorney Sarah Ilk, who's been sitting with me throughout these summations in the sentencing phase. Sarah, what are your initial impressions?
You know, I thought the prosecution's argument was very strong. I thought that they ended a lot stronger than they began. You know, kind of comparing it to the closing argument that we heard yesterday.
Sure.
I was a little bit disappointed, but coming after that rebuttal, I felt like they really tied it up nicely. And I really feel like the number that they've asked for is a fair number.
Absolutely, Sarah. And not just fair, at least in my opinion, it's very symbolic.
Absolutely.
And that is 28 for the 28 years Botham Jean would have been alive today. His birthday actually was just on Sunday, September 29th. So I think it's absolutely reasonable. They're not far-reaching, asking for 50 or 60. They're certainly not asking for life in prison. I believe that Amber Guyger is 32 now, so they're not asking for life in prison, and she would get out at a reasonable age. Do you think, okay, so the prosecutor, each side asked for 20 minutes. I guess maybe that's what they agreed to and they asked for, and that's fine. I personally would have liked something a little longer, maybe going into more detail.
Here is my problem. This is my big problem. Everybody is saying that she's guilty of murder and that she should, you know, she took a life. So then why are they saying what's fair is fair? Botham lost his entire life. He doesn't have 20 years. he won't be out when he's 50. He's dead forever. So why shouldn't it be an eye for an eye? Why shouldn't it be that she should get as much time as he does? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that that's how I feel or that's how I think, but I don't understand how these people are, thank you, B-Lady, but I don't understand how these people are saying that she should get, they're asking for only 20 years. Well, why should she get mercy if you don't believe it was a mistake? Why are you telling her that you should have mercy and not have and not do life like he did? This is what I don't get. Vapin, that's what I'm saying. She didn't premeditate it, which is why she shouldn't have gotten the charge of murder to begin with. That's my point. That's my whole point. It wasn't premeditated. But for them asking, we're only asking 2025, she'll be out in 12 to 15. I don't know. I just, that really bothered me because I'm just sitting here going, you know what? He should get, if they want to charge her with murder instead of manslaughter, and you want to say that she did it intentionally, then she should be getting life. It's like they want her to pay for what she did, but she doesn't have to pay with the rest of her life. Well, to me, that's kind of saying that you kind of think it was an accident and that it wasn't intentional. But they're all making it out like, yes, she should be punished, but don't ruin the rest of her life over it. Exactly, Kim. They can't have it both ways. It's 5 to 99. But what I'm saying, all right, maybe I'm not explaining it right. They're trying to go on the fact that Botham was such a high member of society and he was just a wonderful person in society and blah, 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 blah. And that's what they're trying to do. And that's what this whole case, they're trying to, get around that. And that's the card that they're playing, is that, he was such a wonderful person. And who are they to do that? Who was she to kill this? She did this intentionally. She did this, she wanted to do this. She was a racist. This is everything that they're saying. So then why are you saying that, I think 20 years is a good sentence, which she'll be out in like half of that. So she'll do 10 to 12 if she gets 20. It just, her life's not over. You can easily start your life over at 40 or 50. Easily. The fact that they overcharged her with murder does not mean she should do life. No. I'm not saying what they charged her with. I'm saying the card that the prosecution is playing. The card that the prosecution is playing is that it was intentional. She's a racist. That she wanted him dead. That's why she didn't try to help him. And that's why she didn't do this. She didn't do that. She didn't do this. So... yeah, but unless you have life, you have possibility of parole. They're not going to do 10 years without parole. It doesn't work like that. It has to be life without parole. No, it's not over. It depends. It might be. But you know what I'm saying, though? You can't pull out a race card and then feel bad if the jury gives her 50 years and say that she should only do 20. I don't know, my brain thinks that if you really think that she should get, that, what she did was so traumatic and so horrible, and that it was intentional, and she's a racist that did it, and blah, 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 then throw the book at her and give her 50 years. Oh, she's definitely going to appeal. And I think she'll have a much better time appealing if she gets a much longer sentence. If she gets a short sentence, her appeal, they're not going to look at too hard. If she gets 50 years, I think they will. But I don't know. My whole thing was just like, the way they're all saying, yeah, she should get this, or she should get that, or she should get this. It doesn't seem right. Why not have the pun? Exactly, Galway girl. Exactly. If they're going to make an example out of her, then put her away for life. Yeah, but they're just implying something. Someone on the jury could say, I think 20 is sufficient. They don't have to take what the prosecution says. That's leading. They could give her 5 years because that's what they feel like. But her attorney had an excellent point when he said, don't hang her for other cops. For all the cops that went free, don't hang her. And he's right. See, maybe I missed something earlier, but what was the prosecution saying about a fine? Like, ignore the fine. Yeah, she'll get a fine, but ignore it. What was that about? That's true, Pumpkin. The lawyer did say something. He was ignored. He was overruled. Okay. So who receives the fine? Yeah, it was at the beginning. The prosecutor, when she first did her closing statement, basically said it doesn't matter about the fine, just ignore it. That's what I'm saying, Faith. I didn't get the whole point of that. See, Long Island, what I'm saying is, maybe it's just my mentality, but 20 years is getting her off easy. She will still get out and see the day of light. She will still get out and see sunshine. If you believe, or I should say, if somebody believes that this was intentional, and if somebody believes that they did this, that she did this as a race issue, and she did this, and not intentionally, but that she didn't help him because she wanted him to die, then right then and there, what it's saying is that you think that she should be doing 50 years. I don't get this whole 20 thing where she gets out if you believe that she caused him to die. I don't know if I'm explaining it right. Where's my thumb up, guys? Come on, some thumbs up. We have to be accountable for actions. Doesn't matter if we're sorry for what we did. I agree, Faith. "54 is pretty young. Believe me, I'm 46. I'm 46. I'm 48. One says you're explaining a fine. Next one says, no, you definitely are not explaining what you mean correctly. Hey, Yaya. Yeah, I'm not worried about the whole money thing. There's a lot there. If it wasn't premeditated, that's why they have such a range. Thumbs up for sticking up the butt. That's right. I need to be jury on this case. Was the victim in pitch black when she entered? Wasn't in pitch black. It seems that she saw a silhouette. I could see 40. If she serves 30. That'll make her 60. But either way, but see, my hard time comes in is that I don't believe that it's murder. I believe it's manslaughter. So I'm saying if they believe that this was murder and that she did this intentionally and that she wanted him to die, then why not give her life? That, like, literally give her life without parole, because that's what he got. He'll never see the light of day again. He'll never see anything. So give her what he got. If you believe that she did it intentionally, and not intentionally, but that she wanted him to die. Hang on, I gotta let Book in. Now, I want you guys to know, too, that I'm working on a new case. It's a death penalty case. The judge said that they expect it to go for at least a month. So it's going to be a long trial, but it's really interesting. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is yet. Patreons know because I told them this morning. But I'm not telling you guys who it is yet till I get the first video done. The trial has not started yet. Well, technically it did, but it hasn't totally started yet because they are... They are doing jury selection. So I won't be live tonight because I want to put together this video and introduce it. The case is based out of, if I tell you, you might know, but it's based out of Florida. And it looks like a really good case. So I found it yesterday when they were talking about jury selection. Nope. Not Margaret Lloyd, but Truth wants me to cover that case so badly. Oh, D-Nap, you know? There's a lot of coverage on it. I know it's big in the East Coast. You guys know what I'm talking about? No, not D-Nap. Now, this is just, they're recapping.
Worked hard since she was 16. She wanted to be financially independent. She wanted to...
Yeah, you can guess, Allison.
Put herself through school.
The verdict...
Yeah, they're just guessing. No, you guys can guess what it is. No, it's not. I didn't even know. No, it's not another Michael Jones. Hey, Supercell. Nope, not the FSU professor. I'll give you a hint. So can I reveal it to them? Yes, if you know what it is. Not Markle. It does not, well, it involves two daughters that have no mother or father anymore. Oh, it's Little Miss Perfect. Yeah, Little Miss Perfect takes it up the butt. Who's got a really ugly mouth. But everything else on her is Little Miss Perfect. Hey, Kate Cove. I know she's wearing yellow again. Yeah, Huckleberry, you know. Nope, it has nothing to do with kids. Jury's deliberating.
She would only face 2 to 20 years. Okay? Now, according to this law, and this is at the punishment stage, which is the
we love her
sentencing,
positive
the defendant
pants.
may
I
raise
just
the
joke around and
issue
call Little
as
Miss
to whether
Perfect. That
she
takes it up
caused
the butt.
death under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause. So, Chanley, is this part of the jury instructions? I believe it is.
It is a part of the jury instructions. It was asked for by the defense, and it was agreed to. The judge hesitated, thinking it may not be applicable, but the state didn't object. So they put in this provision that the jury can consider. And when she read the verdict form, it was pretty clear that if they determined by preponderance of the evidence standard that the defense raised this issue of sudden passion based on an adequate cause, that then she would face only the 2 to 20 year range sentence. If not, if they didn't meet that burden by preponderance, then it goes back to the 5 years to 99 years or life.
I don't like her mouth. It reminds me of the Joker.
The first thing that just stuns me is that you're saying the prosecution didn't object to this jury instruction? They didn't object to it?
This wasn't while we were in the courtroom. We had Court TV crew in there, but we weren't, the public was not actually in there just yet. So it was informal back and forth about the charge.
Oh, we
very
love her,
briefly
Greg.
this morning. So again, we heard that in rebuttal closing, the prosecutor brought this up.
Right.
Planning, I guess, that the defense would have harped on it a little bit more than Mr. Shook did, but he did not. He's letting the jury just take that back and determine with the facts of the case if it fits. So, they were expecting them to argue it a little bit more. They did not, but she did refer to it, saying that this doesn't meet the facts here because, sudden passion is, the person who's deceased had to have provoked it in some way. And so she made that very clear.
She dismissed it quite quickly. I am surprised that that's even part of the jury instructions. I'm very surprised.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's Miss Perfect.
So Chanley, was there any buzz in the courthouse about whether Amber Guyger would testify? Because there was certainly buzz in the newsroom.
There was a lot of buzz around here, especially when they called the final witness before lunch. The defense did. We were hoping that Amber Guyger would want to take the stand again, but she did not. She seems very solemn today. It's very heavy inside that courtroom all day long, Seema. I know that you've been watching, but to sit in there, the energy, the grief you feel is palpable.
Wow.
And it's clear today that there are two families distinctly, profoundly impacted forever by this event.
And it certainly came through
Heidi
across
Fleiss
this
was not that
television
pretty.
screen. Yeah, when Amber Guyger did not take the stand, even the judge seemed visibly surprised because she made a comment like, oh, she wasn't even ready for closings to begin because she thought there would be more testimony.
We were all expecting it, and I noticed Amber Guyger a little different today. I don't get to see her face. I sometimes see her profile or the back of her head. But she's like a statue, Seema. She has an innate ability not to move at all, which is be impossible for me or you. But she's able to just sit there and not move. But today I noticed her moving a little bit more, which was an indicator maybe something was affecting her, especially seeing her friends and family up there before her on the stand. I noticed a couple of her friends and coworkers would make eye contact with her directly, even when Maribel left the stand. She looked at her like this, and and then she apologized to both of Jean's family as she left the gallery, very overtly too. So, show of force for Amber Guyger on her side.
Not everyone can be jealous
even
like you, Laura. What does that mean, Raquel?
Chanley, before I let you go, what's happening behind you? Is Lee Merritt talking to the press?
Oh, it could be a jewel.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm trying not to speak too loud because there is
she's
an
freaking
impromptu
perfect.
press conference going on behind me with the family
Except her
attorney
mouth. I
and
just don't like her
civil
mouth.
attorneys
But other than that,
for
she's
both of John's
perfect.
family, Lee Merritt, Benjamin Crump, and Daryl
She's got
Washington.
perfect
They've
hair,
been
perfect
very
teeth, perfect
communicative
eye
with the
shape,
media
perfect
every day
eyebrows,
of the trial,
perfect nose.
keeping us informed, and of course representing
And she's
the family.
adorable.
Okay, well, Chanley, I'll let you listen into that. We're going to take a commercial and we'll hit you back on the other side. Our verdict watch rolls on 22 minutes and counting. The jury in Texas versus Guyger deciding her fate right now.
But we know she takes it up the butt. Oh, and perfect hair. We know she takes it up the butt, though. So that's all we have to know. She is perfect. I know. That's why we always joke around. Who's that lady? Who? She's just a news reporter. She's a CNN news reporter. They only have 20 minutes. I know. I can't imagine them going another day. I just can't. This judge could stand to take it. That's true, too. I bet she does take it up the butt. The sentencing will be really straight. It'll be odd, though. It really will. Samara, no. What did he say? Oh, you have that sassafras? Paris, that was a good one. Oh my God, that's awesome. So I gotta read Paris said. Paris said, instead of rolling quartz rocks over your face, just use hubby's balls. Rub rose quartz all over your face and look decades younger. Oh, and you get that extra eye prize. I bet it's plastic. They're on Central Time. It is 3 o'clock here. Look like a fetus 6 weeks gestation in 3 weeks. Did the case you were talking about happen in Palm Beach? Nope. Not in Palm Beach. See, it's really going to be new because you guys aren't familiar with it. So that's good. Yeah, I got to stop smoking. I am fucking smoking way too much. Damn. Slippery slope for the win. It is a day. Slippery slope said it. It's I'll tell you now. It's Dr. Teresa Sievers was murdered by her husband and his friend. And they're going to the chair. Try to cover it up. Husband did it for a $4.4 million life insurance policy. Ha, vaping. No, seriously, my smoking is out of control sitting at this desk all day and then doing these all night, doing too many lives sitting here. So I decided that I can't. I gotta stop smoking so much. Her and her boyfriend killed him. No. Who? Yep, he lost all parental rights to his kids. They're going to the chair. Hey, Ben. Han, I'm sorry. I know vaping. I emailed you about Patreon. Can you get back to me when you can? Yes. She's still yapping.
Any second now. There it is. We are at 27 minutes. This jury, the same jury that found Guyger guilty of murder 1, is now deciding her fate. Will she get 5 years? Will she get 99 years? Will she get the 28 years that the prosecution is recommending? Now, there is a vehicle by which the law recognizes that even someone in Texas, if you've been convicted of murder 1, well, you can have that reduced to a second-degree felony. And then the range will go from 2 to 20 years. But there are some requirements. Okay, Sarah Ill, criminal defense attorney, and I are going to talk about this because, Sarah, this is a little strange and confusing, okay? So,
I agree.
So let's start off. We have a full screen of this. We're gonna explain it to
we get the explanation now.
And so basically, that's what it's. We said this. There's a defendant who's been convicted of murder. So this is very much at the punishment stage, also known as sentencing in Texas. The defendant may raise the issue as to this reduction as to whether she caused the death under immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause. So off the bat, my eyes are drawn to the words sudden passion and adequate cause. Now, actually, let's show the next screen because now we have some more explanation about this. And that is if the defendant proves it by a preponderance of the evidence, which is 51%, the offense is a felony of the second degree. Okay, so here are all these. Now, number one, this is a defense burden. In the trial, we were faced with prosecution's burden. Prosecution had to prove beyond a reasonable doubt it wasn't a mistake. Prosecution had to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, if the jury got so far, that it wasn't self-defense. Now it is the defense that has a burden of proof. Okay, so your initial thoughts on this reduction vehicle.
So I didn't know any of that.
Initial thoughts. I don't think there's, of course there's surprises, but
sure.
I don't think there's
any way.
Chance.
Okay. So
it's absolutely conflicting with any of the evidence that we heard throughout the entire trial.
Yes.
We never heard any evidence to say that that Botham Jean provoked the scene anyway. And it's like the state said in their closing. Set that aside because it doesn't apply.
So, Sarah, I actually don't know. Have you seen our jury call light? That is a live look. That's for pointing out to you and the viewers. We have a live look at the jury call light. So, if these jurors, just like in the trial, the same room, I think, if the jurors have a question, have a note, that light is going to light up, and then everybody here in the newsroom is going to go nuts, and we're going to try to find out, and Chanley Painter's going to be running around that courthouse trying to get us
I should be on CNN.
But meanwhile, we're going to still dig deep, because right now, Sarah and I are talking about something that the jury is talking about. Should this murder one be reduced?
John, I agree with that.
5 to 99 years. Should we be talking about 2 to 20. So, Sarah, let's show the viewers the definitions, okay? So the first definition that's brought up in this, one of the definitions brought up is adequate cause. And that which would commonly produce a degree of anger, rage, resentment, or terror in a person of ordinary temper, and there's none of that cool reflection. So, to you, is that like heat of passion?
I would agree, yes.
Okay, so we also have the definition of sudden passion. And that means passion directly caused by and arising out of provocation by the individual killed or another acting with the person killed.
Yeah, it's like you find your husband in bed and you stab him to death.
And not the result of foreign provocation. Okay, bottom line, they're referring to Botham Jean. Does that apply?
Absolutely not. When you have a victim who's literally sitting on his couch eating ice cream, you have a defendant standing at the doorstep realizing that someone, or at least what she claims she thinks is her apartment. She stands by the door realizing that someone is in her apartment. She takes a second and she has that chance to step back and call for backup. She wasn't provoked in any way. She went and that was one of the things that he talked about in his closing. I think he said the last thing on her mind was killing. That was the first thing on her mind, and I don't think the jurors are going to forget that. That was the first thing on her mind.
Okay,
but she's got the
and
cutest
don't you think
voice,
in terms
though.
of the Pinterest posts and all that. Now they're almost, you know, it's ingrained in their brain that is her first instinct. Because if you're talking about this, you know, and the law is saying having this ability or capability of cool reflection, that means step back, think about what's happening. She could have done that.
Absolutely. She testified that she could have. She testified that she could have called for backup. She could have radioed in. And she also testified that had she done that, he would still be here today. So I don't see...
Why? Okay, so no. When you're on, I think that's a great point. I think it's a great point where you bring up. But how do you reconcile what you just said about Guyger's testimony with earlier you had said to me that you found it self-serving? So what do you think? Because I'm confused too. I feel very torn between watching her tears and feeling the remorse, and also I'm the same. I'm feeling self-serving. So what do you think is happening? Why she's not coming across as authentic as perhaps we would have liked?
I struggled with this, thinking about this last night after watching court. On one side, you see her and you think, well, she's being honest. And is this honesty that she's coming forth and saying, because there was a much better way to answer these questions for the defense other than how she was answering them.
Sure. For instance,
when he says there was, if you would have done these steps, if you would have taken a step back, he would be here today. And she says yes. And she didn't say yes and then explain her answers. She just said yes. But then the other side of it is well, is the jury looking at that and respecting her honesty in that?
I think you'd get the same result.
Exactly, because you know how it is, Sarah. If you start fighting if you're a defense attorney, you do this. If I am a witness and I start pushing back with you, it could make me look bad. So if you ask me a question, a yes or no, that requires a yes or no response, and I am saying yes, but let me explain, it looks like I'm fighting with you.
But
go ahead.
Even when she was on direct examination, I feel like when given the opportunity to really be sincere, it just came across as self-serving. So while on cross-examination, while she didn't really give explanations other than just saying yes or no, when she had that opportunity to explain herself,
sure.
And I think that's where we lack today, where the jury would have wanted to hear from her to explain her actions, especially as it relates to the text messages and the Pinterest posts.
I'm glad you're bringing this up. Let's ourselves and the viewers get reacquainted with what Amber Guyger said during the trial. These are some highlights, lowlights of her testimony.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
When you pulled your weapon at night and you fired, why did you fire?
I was scared. Whoever was inside my apartment was gonna kill me. And I'm sorry. I have to live with that every single day that I heard. No police officer ever would want her.
There's not one fucking tear.
And I'm saying, let me see your hands, let me see your hands.
What were you focused on?
Him.
What did the figure do after you said, let me see your hands?
He started coming towards me. I feel like a terrible person. I feel like a piece of crap. I hate that I have to live with this every single day of my life. And I ask God for forgiveness, and I hate myself every single day. I wish he was the one with the gun that killed me.
Not one tear.
An innocent person's life.
When you aimed and pulled the trigger at Mr. Jean, shooting him in center mass, exactly where you are trained, you intended to kill Mr. Jean.
I did.
Why would you try and do a little CPR on a man who's died who needs your full attention?
Because I had to keep getting up to see where I was at.
That was more important than giving life-saving help to this man.
I had no idea where I was at.
You were able to tell the 911 call taker very, very soon on that you were in apartment 1478. After that moment, why couldn't you have given him full, undivided, and proper attention.
I was still on the phone with...
You can put the phone on speakerphone, ma'am.
I had so much stuff racing through my head.
Can you imagine Mr. Jean's perspective, an intruder barging into his apartment, somebody on the other side of that door being you, going in with the purpose of finding the threat and taking care of it, and then having been shot and fallen and being alone in that apartment? Can't you imagine that being a little bit scarier than you just being alone at the moment?
Yes, sir, I can.
Mr. Jean was lying on a stretcher being carried by paramedics, right?
Yes, sir.
You can see what you've done. The second he's passed, what do you go do again?
I looked at my phone because I didn't want to see his body.
This family is thinking about having to bury their son and their brother. 2 days after the event, you are already going back to talking about getting drunk and doing sexual things with Martin Rivera.
Yes, I did.
What was he doing when you fired the shot?
He was just moving, advanced towards me whenever I shot the first 2 shots where he ended up falling down.
And why did you shoot?
Because I was scared that he was going to come at me and
31.
kill me.
That was your reason?
Yes, sir. I was scared, and I thought he was advancing towards me. He had a weapon.
Okay, Sarah, I know I did.
But Samara, I've heard about John's video. He doesn't know if her gun was already loaded and already cocked. He's assuming that her gun was off. Many cops walk in their door with guns fully loaded. Many cops walk in their door with guns fully ready to go just in case when they open the door, somebody walks in. Somebody is in there. Many cops do it. I know cops that do it. So for him to assume that her gun wasn't loaded is inaccurate. Unless she said that and I missed it somewhere. Now, if he said that if she said that somewhere and I missed it, that's a whole nother story. And I take back what I said. But I don't remember hearing her saying she did everything, that she did everything before she went in, then she went back in. So if I'm wrong, someone tell me.
And you have to accept different responsibilities than the average citizen. I think that it is, like, listen, if a lawyer gets arrested, it makes a lot more headlines because, hey, we should know better.
Absolutely.
And doctors, of course, they're bound, whether they're on duty or on call or off call or whatever, they have to render aid. So I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that we have chosen our professions. So
Absolutely.
We should act accordingly.
I 100% agree. And
do you? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you think after watching that, kind of like just reacquainting yourself with Amber Guyger's testimony, but on direct and cross, so that was direct and cross, do you still think she should have testified in the sentencing phase?
I still think that there was something missing that the jury needed to hear. I felt like the jury needed to hear her just say, I was wrong. I'm a garbage person for making those posts, for saying those things, but
I know.
But then you don't.
Or also, Sarah, you know what? Sometimes if I were her, just, hey, I'm sorry, I got caught up. I was texting with my friends. I'm really not a racist. I'm not that way. I just get caught up in the moment, and I said, terrible, awful, horrible, garbage things. So that is a way to get out of this, because I still think those posts could show her true character, unlike what she showed on the stand.
I think so too. And it's like I said, you're not off duty as an officer. You chose that, just like if we chose to be a lawyer or a doctor.
Yes.
And you're in the spotlight, and it just so happens that I don't think that she realized that those posts were going to be used against her when she made those.
We
but
never do, Sarah. We never do. That's why we all have to be very careful with what we post on social media, whether you're just the average person, you're a lawyer, you're a Court TV anchor, whoever you are, be careful with there. Now, our verdict clock is rolling on. We're over 41 minutes. This jury deciding the fate of one Amber Guyger. More next.
We got one of those new purple mattresses, and it is amazing.
Hey, I got a question. Can they have a hung jury on sentencing? Facebook is the devil, no joke. 41 minutes, Ben. Okay, Samara, I'm going to go back to what you did say. And I haven't watched the video because I don't agree with the sentence. Okay, John Crime said Amber unlocked her weapon at her side, took off safety, positioned her gun all outside the door, then went inside planning to kill whoever was inside. But we don't, that's assumption. We don't know if her weapon was locked. We don't know if the safety was on. And it takes a millimeter of a second to position a gun. So unless I miss something, he doesn't know that. That's an assumption. Oh, she did say it on the stand. Okay, that's what I was wondering. So then I take it back. I think it can be a mistrial and sentence phasing too. Does the judge pick it up? She testified. All right, then I apologize. That's why I said if I'm wrong and I miss something, I'm okay with that. I agree, Allison. They have them holstered, so she would have to have done that. The judge takes that. That's what I thought too. The judge takes over, but I don't know Texas law. See, what freaks me out, though, and this is where I'm torn on this murder charge and how much time she should get, because if she had enough time to back up, then how did she not realize it wasn't her apartment? It wasn't like she just opened the door and then boom. Like, she took a step back and thought about it for a second. Didn't the Jodi Arias get deadlocked on the penalty and the judge decided? Yeah, but it's a different state. Every state's different. In Texas, the jury gives a sentencing line, but judge is final on it. Oh, really? Don't forget to give Laura a big thumb up. At least call a boyfriend and tell him what's going on. Her partner.
Just wanted to go home. And they made a series of terrible, terrible mistakes.
Terrible mistakes.
I made a decision in a moment of fear, of confusion, and took a lot. I don't think they were thinking about that situation. When they were thinking of what's deserving and heavy in a murder case.
We are on a verdict watch in the sentencing phase of Texas versus Amber Guyger. The same jury that found Guyger guilty of murder in the first degree, now they're deciding her fate. Now, as they deliberate, they are at 46 minutes and counting. You can see we have eyes on that call light. That is in front of the jury's room, so if they have a question, they'll hit it, it'll light up. We'll go nuts. We'll try to bring you the answers right away, get back into court right away. But while we wait this out together, and listen, you don't want to go anywhere because we could get a note or a verdict any second. But while we wait, we want you to look back at some of the most compelling testimony from the day. This is going to be tough. I'm telling you, this is going to be tough. Just have some tissues ready. This is an absolute heartbreaker to watch the dad of both them, Jean, a grown man, testify about his dead son. Here we go.
Bertram, you are the father to both of them?
Yes, I'm. Uncle Lancy, I don't believe that.
I want you, from your perspective, tell the ladies and gentlemen about your family.
My son, both of them, was dear to me. I reflect the great memories, having him as a babe, just born as, and then my wife had to leave for university. I actually had him, bathed him, made his bottles, fed him, bring him to my mom's house. Then
I
go to
agree,
work,
Faith. Me too.
returned, picked him up. It did not matter what time it was. I just wanted him with me. No, I'll continue. I just wanted him with me. Even though my mom told me to leave him with her, it does not matter. It did not matter what time I returned from work, from my office, I would go and pick him up and take him with me. I dropped him off to school, from infant school to secondary school. We had our fatherly talk. There are times when my friends said I was babying him, a big boy, but I enjoyed doing that. He was never left alone. I'd bring him to school in mornings and pick him up one afternoon, even up to a grown boy of 16 years. And he...
Almost rides to and from school?
Yes, drop him off and left my office in the afternoon to go and pick him up and drop him off home. Or to my mom, and after my mom, I go and pick him up in an evening. So we always spent a lot of time chatting together. And I attended every meeting the school initiated, every meeting that was called, I was there for him. I can recall the hugs at primary school before he left. And after some time, he started growing up. And he was afraid to hug again because his friends were not getting his hugs. But I demanded it. Come and hug your dad. So lots of fond memories. Yeah.
When both of them went off to college at Harding, how did you maintain your closeness because you were always with them?
Yes, we communicated via WhatsApp, and the times when he called and speak to his mommy, I would be nearby, and he would certainly say if my wife asked for him to speak to me, and he said, no, I'll call my daddy on his own phone. Yes, and I appreciated the days when I would wake him up on a Saturday morning and say, hey, get out of bed, man, you're too lazy. And he said, I'm not in bed, I'm out already, I'm doing groceries. And I can recall, he showed me, I could recall having a neighbor speaking to him, and he said, hold on. He allowed me to hold on, and he said, it took around 5 minutes, and I'm hearing him conversing with this neighbor. He told me, this is my friend, and I could hear everything they were saying. And he said, look, I have groceries in my hands, and I'm opening the door with my foot. And so, yes, we converse, and I love my Sunday morning. My Sundays has been destroyed. That's when I would be I waited for him to get home from his worship.
Slippery, where'd that come from?
After, yeah.
On Sundays, he would call you so y'all can talk about the service. Is that
Or I would wait for him to reach and send a message. Where are you? Where did you go to worship? And the times his mommy called to find out the same. Where did you go to worship? And you say Dallas West or this side or that side, and I say, what do you cook today? And you take a shot and forward me his good cooking, which you learned from me. And when I watch the dishes, I say, you prepare that?
Are you serious, Paris?
Dishes, and I'm saying, can I see the girl who prepared this thing at the back?
Oh my God!
Because I didn't believe he was that good. He had learned the great cooking from me.
False flag.
And that was my moment. I really enjoyed when.
A false flag means it was like set up by the government. It was set up by, like they're trying to take away your guns. So that's what this is about. And that's what a false flag is. That's not true, Laura. What's not true? Yeah, like crisis actor bullshit. Exactly. That is not being said in Case Mall's chat. So am I wrong? I don't know. Uncle Nancy, I'm sorry. It was this morning. She's, I don't know. I don't doubt it. I've seen some of Case Mall's people, and they're all fucking crazy.
Do you remember this one?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Father and son having a chat at Tommy Bush's residence in Arkansas. And I had venison for the first time. He encouraged me to have some venison.
And are you imparting words of wisdom on it?
No, we were just generalizing, speaking about the ponds and the fishes and what he loved doing.
And then it states exhibit 350. That looks like a Christmas time photo.
I can't even recall. I just loved being by his side, he felt. And people would ask, who is the father, who is the son? Because he has more size than me.
Since this event has happened, has yourself and Allison and
No, different Diane.
And the rest of the John family, how do you, as the patriarch of this family, try to hold them together?
Well, as the man of the home, I have to be strong for them. We spend a lot of time together. We go out for dinner, we speak about him. Although Alyssa is not there, but we do communicate with her. There are times when my wife calls and just seeing the boys in the background, grandchildren, and it just motivates us to keep his memory alive. But I have to be strong. I try not to shed tears in front of them.
And I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 352. Mr. John, in this photo, what are you thinking when you're standing there holding your wife?
How could that happen to us, our family? How could we have lost both of them? Such a sweet boy. He tried his best to live a good, honest life. He loved God. He loved everyone.
Oh, no,
How could this happen to him? How could hindsight, what could we have done? And my mom is broken-hearted. How could it be possible? I'll never see him again. And I want to see him. I still want to see him. It's hard. I've never experienced a close death in my family. It's hard not hearing his voice.
It's like the dad of Botham Jean was reliving the whole acknowledgement that his son is gone while he was on the stand in front of that jury. I can't imagine what they thought of it. Criminal defense attorney Sarah Ilg still with me. Sarah, what do you think the jury is feeling after watching that dad? Like I was trying to say, I don't think there's anything harder than watching a grown man cry, and especially about the loss of his child.
Absolutely. I want to say, didn't we hear that the jurors were reacting to the testimony they were hearing during the state's case, but not so much as the defense's case? Did I hear that right, or?
I don't know. That's a good point. That's a very good point. But I will ask Chanley that for sure.
Okay.
That's good
I think
to know.
that we heard from her before about some of the jurors were visibly crying and upset after his testimony.
I did hear that during that, yeah, and that seems really expected. But listen, the jury's deliberating now. We're almost at 1 hour. Sarah Ilg, thank you so much for spending some time with me.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate your expertise and
Thank
insight.
you.
Please come back soon. Okay, folks, the verdict watch rolls on in Texas versus Amber Guyger. We continue after the break.
Tonight on Court TV. Former police officer Amber Guyger is a convicted murderer. Now the jury that found her guilty of killing Botham Jean in his own apartment must now determine her punishment. Guyger must wait to find out how much of her life will be spent in prison. Our teams are live in Dallas with every update in the wrong apartment murder trial.
Yeah, but jury get paid like nothing.
Tonight, starting at...
That's what's happening in the case, the next case that I'm doing, the one I'm going to start working on tonight, is they expect the juror to go 5 weeks, and you get like less than $20 a day to be on a jury. So they've already eliminated like 75 people so far because they can't be out of work that long without losing their jobs. Yeah, 15 a day. How am I? I'm good. I was crying. I had to wait for the tears to stop. Yeah, I couldn't take off 5 weeks. His parents seemed so kind and loving. They raised such a beautiful, wholesome son. They did. I'll agree with that. Judges see 98 potential jurors. And they've let more than 3/4 of them go. They will not even pay for meals. They don't pay for meals? I thought they did. Minimum wage plus mileage is pretty good. Because normally it's like $15 or $20 a day. That's why you'll see a lot of juries with like housewives, disabled people, because they don't work anyway. Housewives make like the perfect juror. You end up having very young people who have no dependents or either old. Exactly. So it's definitely not a jury of our peers. The jury would be picked, not judged. Oh, so that's right. A new jury would be picked. So they could go on for days. No, your employer cannot fire you, but I couldn't be out of work for 5 weeks. I couldn't afford it. Now, if there's a new jury, do they have to redo the whole trial or just the jury part? Ziggy, that is not true at all. You do not get paid to be on jury duty. You just can't lose your job. Nothing happened yet, Paris. All right, so one says no, one says yes, new trial, one says only sentencing. They're doing us on purpose. They want dinner break. You do get paid. I have twice. It depends on the company. Trust me. If I did jury duty, I would not get paid. Then you have a good employer, Hound. It's Smitty, I'll never have that. Charges done. It's still 90 degrees here. A reach search if you only sent. All right. Thank you, Crazy Nurse. I just tell them I don't trust lawyers and they get me out of jury duty. Ben, you'd be scary on jury duty. No offense. Look at this guy's suit.
Symbolizing how old Botham Jean would have been today.
I think it's very interesting how in Texas you have that wide range and then the prosecution gets to put out a number. Because I'm used as a criminal defense attorney here in Georgia. I'm used to you get convicted of murder, you're going to get life. You might get life without parole, but you're definitely going to get life. And the number is very symbolic. I'm actually surprised that it's so low. I was expecting them to ask for a much higher number. But it's important for the jurors to have some sense as to why that number. Give them a reason to hang on to. And it's his life. That's what you took away. That's what you need to pay back.
That is so well said, Suri. I also think that, and I'm sure you agree, they must have spoken with the family to get their at least endorsement or consulted with them in some way. This is how much time we want to ask for. And before we watch the prosecutors and the defense closing arguments in the sentencing phase, we had our correspondent heard from the family lawyer that the family lawyer, the civil side, wanted something like 25 years.
Should have done a purple
tie. So that
tie.
seems right about commensurate.
Yeah, it seems like a nice, comfortable number that people can wrap their heads around. And they definitely had to consult with their family.
Do you think this is going to expedite the verdict process? Because before, just say the prosecution doesn't give a number, defense doesn't give a number. They go in, and there's 12 people deciding from the range of 5 to 99. Now that they have 28, perhaps as a starting point, are we likely to get some unanimous agreement maybe sooner?
I think so. I think that's going to get the ball rolling, and that's why you give a number and you give a reason behind it. Because you want to start that conversation
used a purple
without them
tie.
being lost. Because they're going to feel that, oh, why? Why is there this big range? 5 seems ridiculous. We all know that. I mean, you get more time for marijuana. Okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's actually look back. We have some sound, and this is from the defense attorney talking about Amber Guyger being off duty, although she was in a uniform. Hit it.
Amber Guyger wasn't on duty. She didn't pull Botham Jean over. She didn't go there on a search warrant trying to break into his apartment. She just wanted to go home. And through these horrible series of events, she went into his apartment by mistake. She pulled that trigger in an instant she'll regret the rest of her life.
How significant is it that although she was off duty, she was in uniform, utility belt on, she had the taser, she had the mace, she had her gun, she had her police bag, she had a bulletproof vest. So you can say off duty, but if I look at you, you really look like you're on duty, Amber.
I wear a uniform too. This is my uniform.
No,
This is how I
Amelia,
go to work. This is how I go to work.
Granny
I don't
looked it
stop being
up.
an
Very
attorney.
fancy uniforms.
Well, thank
It
you.
would get a new
Yeah,
jury.
but it doesn't stop being me when 5 o'clock hits. She does not stop being a police officer just because she's not on the clock anymore. And those are one of the factors that when we are talking about, let's say, an offense of obstruction, whether or not somebody is listening to the commands of an officer, it's important that that officer is a factor that the court considers whether that officer is in uniform, because that portrays authority.
Yes, of course.
And that also goes to, once he saw that uniform in his living room, he probably even mellowed. He calmed down because he knew it was somebody. It wasn't a burglar. It was an officer.
Right. I don't even know. I mean, that's one thing that's interesting that you mentioned this. I don't know that as we sit here today, we even know how much time Botham Jean had to process what was occurring in his home at that moment.
Probably no time at all.
Right, we don't know. But
welcome,
do
Travis.
you think that if she was not as we see her on the screen right now, if she was dressed in just a t-shirt and jeans, some other way, how she appears in court, this would have a different set of optics to the jury?
No, I think the jury would still be focusing on the fact that it's somebody intruding into someone else's home and pulling the trigger.
No,
so
as a police
quickly.
officer. I'm saying, you agree that even us, lawyers, were held to a higher standard. Police officers, doctors, journalists were held to a higher standard. Is there anything wrong with that? Would it have changed if she was dressed in civilian clothes, as we see her up there?
Yes, we're held to a high standard, and so is she. And most likely, they would have felt less sympathy for her if she hadn't been in uniform. I do believe that the uniform does carry some sympathy, but at the same time, it also gives more responsibility.
Suri, thank you. Okay, you're going to stick with me. The verdict watch rolls on. We're almost at 1 hour and 10 minutes. Now, after this, you are going to hear from Amber Guyger's mother, who took the stand today. That's next.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. The Center for Medicare.
They only got 15 minutes till court's over. Thank you, Faith. They only got 15 minutes till court's over. Everyone, Purple Heart Faith. $10. Ben, where are you getting these numbers from? All right, it's going to be my last cigarette until tonight. Because after this is over, I have to go mow the rest of the lawn. Yuck. We all have that one nephew. That's true. Good point, Anita. He does make up numbers. Joe Namath. They're stressed. Yeah, but I mean, I would assume they want to go home. It's raining here in New York, is it? No, I think she picks it from the beginning. My kids mow most of it, but there's a hill in the back behind the fence that they cannot do. So they make me do it because it's really hard. It's great exercise, but it's really hard. Yes, I mow my own lawn. Well, me and the kids. Have I lost weight from doing it? I don't know. I'm on a diet now. With a push mower, yes. But the mower's heavy. And then you have to do this hill and you have to do it on a slant. Oh my God, it's a pain in the ass. It is a workout, especially when you live on a hill. And I can't even put it off anymore. I know, everyone says that, mow with a selfie. What type of diet? The weight off, just kid with you. What? Oh, what kind of diet smoke the weight off? I wish. I'd be dead. I shouldn't have mentioned that. Someone in their chat mentioned it might be a false flag because they think I'm talking about everyone in K Small's chat, including K Smalls. I didn't mean to cause shit. Paris, don't even stress over it. All right, if Texas jury can't agree on sentence, charge will stand. But new jury has to go through a complete trial to determine. That's what I thought. But then don't they have to find jurors that aren't sequestered, like that didn't watch the news or anything, which would be almost impossible? I did in the beginning, and then I gained it all back. Yeah, I don't like beer. My wife wants me to tell her she loves that poker. Tell her thank you. I still have it in my closet. I just don't fit in it anymore. I've been in this weird funk lately, though. I haven't done my hair, my makeup, nothing. Is the temp dropping at all? I'd wait. Or is it staying? No, it's staying hot. The best time to do it would be first thing in the morning, and I can't because I work. Are you missing someone in my life? Not really. Kind of stressed. But that's all. That's her mom? That's what I'm saying. They wouldn't be able to do it. No, I can quit Ziggy. I just enjoy cigarettes.
Is on, folks. The jury now deciding Amber Guyger's fate. The clock is almost at 1 hour and 15 minutes. Remember, this is the same jury that found Amber Guyger guilty of murder in the first degree. Now, the mom's testimony, Amber Guyger's mom, was in some ways equally compelling as Botham Jean's mom and his dad and his sister. You know, family members testify, and it is hard not to get emotional, even if it's for different reasons. So let's go back to Amber Guyger's mom's testimony from earlier today. Take a listen.
Happy, I don't even have any desire.
Thank you. Could you tell us your name, please?
Karen Guyger.
And you're Amber's mom, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you?
66. I'll be 67 in February.
Does Amber have any siblings?
She's 2.
Can you tell us who they are?
Her oldest sister
Yes, I
is
brushed my teeth
Alana,
vaping.
and she has a younger brother, another brother. Alana's the oldest, and then I have a son. His name's David. He's a David.
Go ahead.
And Amber was the youngest.
So you have just 3 children, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did Amber grow up?
In Arlington, Texas.
Were all 3 kids fathered by the same man?
Yes, ma'am.
And what's his name?
William.
And are y'all still together?
Well, I'm not in it yet, Slope.
How old about was Amber when you and Bill separated?
I guess when she was about 5 or 6.
Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Ms. Guyger, I'm going to show you 2 photographs that have been marked as defense exhibits, number 95 and 96. Are those photos of your 3 kids in 95 and then a photo of your family in 96?
Yes.
That's 95 and 96, right?
No objection.
Permission to publish the jury?
Yes, ma'am.
Poppy, I said the
So
same
defense
thing.
95.
I said the same thing, and then I thought about it, that it may have, being that she was molested, it could have, why she opened the door and just shot. There's a lot of things. But I thought the same thing.
Who is on the left here in this photo?
That's Alana.
And how old is she now?
She's 38.
And who is this here in the middle?
That's David.
And then this is Amber here.
Yes, ma'am.
About how old was Amber in this photo? Do you recall?
I'd say she was in junior high. I'd forgotten.
I'm sorry.
I know.
About
trying to.
junior high?
Yeah.
And then defense
And
exhibit
that's-
number 96.
And that's much later.
This is Amber in the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
She's picked you up. That's you.
Mm.
And your son here. And then
Mm-hmm.
Alana, your daughter. And then, even though y'all aren't still together, this is the kid's dad, and that's Bill. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Breaking news, I've been told that a verdict is in. The
All right, here we are.
1 hour, 17 minutes, and 6 seconds. That is a live look at
Here
the
we
courtroom.
go.
That is Judge
This is
Tammy
it, the
Kemp.
big
Looks like
one.
she's putting on her robe again. We are
Judge is going
hearing-
to take a break.
Actually, let's try to listen in.
It's not a foot athletic vehicle.
And if you didn't hear earlier, Brenda Dassey is asking for clemency for my making a murder of people.
Okay, we are with Amber Guyger seated. That's Amber Guyger. That's a live
I told
look
you the judge
inside
was
the
taking a
courtroom.
break.
You see Toby Shook seated next to her. Some attorneys, I think that's Mr. Rogers, behind her. He is still standing. The judge was on the bench just a few minutes ago. Now she has stepped off the bench. We are waiting, I believe, for the jury. I don't know if the prosecutors are here. We can't tell from the angle. I imagine they are because the prosecutor's office is in that same building or in that same complex. And I'm sure everybody has been nearby, ready to come inside the courtroom the moment there has been a question or a note. Okay, the judge is reappearing from the door behind, behind her her bench.
Where's the judge's other arm?
Let's see if she's going to say something. Looks like she's getting ready for what is happening next. All right, she's going back behind the door. The
Phoenix
door
gonna help you with
behind
the
the
math.
bench.
Okay.
Man, would
I
I
have to
love
hit
to
on
be
your
a
computer.
fly on that
You gotta
wall.
wait.
Okay, so that's it. Now we see this look is expanding. We're getting a larger look. Still looks like the courtroom is not quite filled up. Probably
Oh,
still
come on.
waiting for some lawyers to come in. Probably waiting for the family members to come in. Perhaps Amber Guyger's family and friends also want to be present for this moment. Again, the breaking news is that we do have word that a verdict is in. The clock stopped at 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 6 seconds. So I want to bring in my colleagues, Ted Rollins and Vinnie Politan, who are with me now as we wait the verdict. Now, guys, prosecution finished their rebuttal, closing, asking for 28 years. We have a 1 hour, 17 minutes on the clock. Are we expecting a sentence of 28 years? Symbolic for Botham Jean's birthday as of Sunday.
I think there's a really good chance that they'll go along with the prosecution, because the prosecution wasn't asking for life, so I don't know if there was even much debate.
Thanks,
Potentially didn't ask for
crazy
anything,
nurse
so,
granny.
That would be a logical place to start. They may want to send more of a message and round up to 30 years.
But I think we're going to be somewhere in that 20 to 30 year range.
Ted Rollins?
Yeah, I think it's going to be 28, I would imagine. It did take them an hour and 17 minutes, so somebody probably wanted more. I can't see it going much more.
I think that the prosecution certainly made the jury's job easier because, you know, if you're dealing with a range of 5 to 99 with no guidance and you have 12 people, there's going to be numbers called out all over the place.
That's the state of Texas, Pearls of Wisdom. They have a choice. The defendant has a choice if they want to let the jury decide or if they want to let the judge decide. Personally, I would probably let a judge decide, but that's me.
All the jurors will be able to agree on something in that area. And, you know, this is Amber Guyger. If she does get something in that range, she'll have some life.
She is now 32, I believe.
Right. So, you know, depending on when she gets out exactly, I mean, she'll have some years to
Sorry, she's 31.
give something to society.
Because the jury...
Right. Yeah, no, yeah, she's only 31 years old.
Because the jury doesn't know what they're doing. You're not getting... I've seen too many people base stuff on a jury that is wrong rather than a judge that knows the law. And if my life is hanging on the line and I'm guilty, I don't know. To me, I would rather have a judge than a jury.
This is the murder statute of the Texas Penal Code. It says that a defendant convicted of murder can try to reduce it to a second-degree felony. And a second-degree felony that range is 2 to 20 years.
Exactly.
I'm surprised the prosecution didn't object, Ted Rollins.
Yeah, but you know, you notice that the defense didn't bring it up. The defense didn't argue it in front of the jury, didn't go down that road. I am really
Doesn't matter if a judge is tough, though. Judge has to go by the law. Judge can't give an opinion. They have to go by the law. And you'll also find I think that with a jury, you're going to find less errors in the law, which could cause you to win an appeal. A judge, you'll find much more errors in the law where you can actually get an appeal. You can win on appeal. That's my feeling.
Ted, because that's doing justice in the case. Because prosecutors know they're the ones who handle all the murder cases in Dallas County. So they know the difference. This jury doesn't know the difference. This is the only case
I agree,
that they'll ever have to give punishment to. So they have no baseline. They have no point of reference. But prosecutors do. And by recommending 28 years, they've done justice in this case in that they've evaluated this case versus other cases and have said, okay, this isn't the worst of the worst, okay? This isn't someone who necessarily deserves life in prison. So, yeah, I agree with you, Ted, 2,000% on that. Because if they came in and said life, this jury may follow them to life.
I also want just to point out, to just put this fact in the mix, and that is before I went on air at 3, and this was during Julie Grant's time in Court TV Live when she was anchoring, she spoke to Chanley Painter, our legal correspondent, who I imagine is in the courtroom right now and has been in the courthouse throughout this trial. And that is the civil lawyers, the family lawyers. They have indicated that they wanted 25 years. So asking for 28, and then the civil lawyers saying 25. Clearly, the family was consulted. Julie Grant, Court TV Live anchor, joins us now. Julie, is that right, the way I explained that?
Yes,
what Chanley told you?
But yes, that's exactly right, that the family wanted.
But understand something in an appeal. A lot of people have appeals wrong. All an appeal is, you have to find an error in the law during that court trial. That's the only way you can win on appeal. A lot of people say appeal like they think that, you know, something was figured out wrong. That's not the way an appeal works.
With that, yes, it could very much be symbolic, and I thought they may even ask for more because they've been so aggressive.
An appeal is nothing more than there has to be a gross error in the law. That's it.
Judge, let's go back into court.
I don't think that's basis for an appeal, Vapin, because they'll never see that. You shh. When the judge sits, I'll shut up. can take another break. Because what I was saying is that even on appeal,
we are waiting. I imagine for the jury.
Oh my
to
God,
come
she's
in.
going out
Our
again.
Verdict clock stopped at 1 hour and 17 minutes. This is the breaking news, folks. We are expecting a verdict any moment in Texas versus Amber Guyger to be read. With me on set, anchors Ted Rowlands, Vinnie Politan, and
Ken, I agree with that. And I said that earlier, that if she wants to win an appeal, if they give her like 50 or 90 years, she's got a much better chance to win on that if they, instead of, giving her 10 to 15. So I totally agree with that statement. I said that earlier.
That was placed in front of this jury, and they've been out for about an hour. So to me, it's right on track.
But Julie, do you think that they would have been out longer if the prosecution didn't give them a number?
Well, that's a good question.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you go in,
Right.
Julie, and they say, hey, 5 to 99.
Sure.
All rise. Here we go.
I think the judge is sick, honestly. Who cares about the other station? They're not loud.
Thank you.
Court
You all
TV's
may
loud.
be seated. I'm sorry. Mr. Rogers and Ms. Guyger, would you please stand? The jury having reached a verdict, I will now announce it. We, the jury, find unanimously that the defendant did not cause the death of Botham Jean while under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause, and assess the defendant's punishment at 10 years imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. In addition, we assess a fine of $0, and it's signed by the presiding juror. Would you like
10
to have the
years.
jury poll? Okay. Is there any legal reason why this sentence should not now be imposed? It is
She'll
therefore
be out.
the order
She'll be out by 40.
decree of the court that you be taken by the sheriff of Dallas County and safely transported by her to an agent or representative of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and there you shall be confined until your sentence is discharged. Your sentence will begin today, and you will receive credit for any back time that you have. That being concluded, you may be seated, Ms. Guyger. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are now released from my prior admonitions not to watch, listen,
She got
read,
very lucky.
or to speak to anyone concerning this case. Oftentimes the attorneys like to speak with you to see if there were things that they could have done better, or if there are questions that you might have. You are absolutely under no obligation to speak with them. If you'd like to, you can remain in the jury room. If you would not like to, we will certainly make
She won't win on appeal.
to get you safely to your destinations. But on behalf of all the judges here in Dallas County and the citizens of Dallas County, I want to thank you for your service. Being a juror is a very difficult job, but you help us to establish what criminal justice means here in Dallas County and in the state of Texas. And we thank you for your attention, your time, and your service. Thank you. This has been a most difficult
That's what I'm
case,
saying. She won't appeal.
and I want you to know we appreciate your service. And if you find yourself still having difficulty processing it in the future, let us know, and we can provide some counseling for you. Okay? Again, thank you.
All right.
I don't think anyone did. I have to look at the pictures. Nobody won. No, she's got, well, yeah, she could do like 5 years and then get out.
Shocking verdict just came down against Amber Guyger. The prosecution asked for 28 years, and what did they get? Perhaps a slap in the face, only 10 years in prison. Still with me, Ted Rollins, Vinnie Politan, and Julie Grant. Julie, I noticed that you have been watching, you had eyes on the family in the pews of the courtroom. What did you read from their faces?
I read a look of shock, a look of perhaps anger, some disgust. They don't look happy at all. They are very somber, clearly upset, understandably so. I mean, this is a murder conviction, and the sentence doesn't seem to match the crime.
And just a few hours ago, you spoke to Chanley Painter. Chanley Painter told us that the family attorney, presumably speaking to the family, wanted 25 years. Then just a little while after that, prosecution gets up and closes and asks for 28 years. 10 years. I thought that we all thought, okay, 1 hour, 17 minutes, makes sense. They were given a number. Hey, let's all just do the 28. That's what they asked for. Where does 10 years come from?
It comes from Texas, and this is the
Explain.
Texas justice. Murder means something much different in
That's
Texas.
very true.
The discretion, 5 to 99 years. You have to evaluate what did this person do versus other murderers. Who is the worst of the worst? And the defense spoke about that in their closing argument. And this jury looked at that and said, well, wait a minute, this isn't, maybe they're looking at the actual what happened here, that this was a mistake, an unreasonable mistake, but a mistake nonetheless.
Ted.
They sentenced her to murder, but sentenced her to, as though they had sentenced her to a manslaughter charge. And
right.
I think I agree with Vinny that they thought this was a mistake at the end of the day. And they followed the law, because getting to manslaughter is basically impossible if you were following the letter of the law.
Because of the reckless.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they went with the murder charge, but they obviously were sentencing on a different level. And the hour and 17 minutes means there was some debate. Obviously, not much though. I mean, they agreed at the end.
Okay, so it's interesting. So the first part of the verdict was taken. They went through the law of the reduction. So the reduced second-degree felony, if someone is convicted in Texas of murder in the first degree, then they consider the second-degree felony, and that range was 2 to 20. So the 10 is squarely right there.
That makes that whole, that's moot. That means nothing because of the range here and where they land her. Now, what this means, Amber Guyger will have a life. She'll
More
be
than a
out,
life.
she'll be young, she'll be able to turn things around, hopefully, and live a very productive life, but she will have a life.
Okay, now I gotta stop there though. Let's think about that. She was convicted of a felony first-degree murder. What kind of fucking job can this woman get? And she's an ex-cop. Where could she possibly work? Flipping burgers? She's never going to be able to have a decent job. She's never going to get hired at a good job to turn her life around. She's never going to have that option. Like, her life is ruined regardless. And believe me, I'm not saying that I agree with 10. And I'm just saying that in general, like, she has no life. She will never have a life. Like, she can marry rich, but she will never be able to vote. She will never be able to do a lot of things. She can't get student aid loans. She can't get anything. She won't be able to get food stamps. She can't do anything. So to say that she's going to live a productive life, no, she's not. She's never going to have a decent job. No, not with a felony murder charge, she won't. I work here in Virginia with a convicted murderer. Yeah, but it's in a shipyard. Is she going to work at a shipyard? Come on. Thanks, Poppy. Believe me, corporations are not forgiving her with a first-degree murder charge. And the family can destroy whatever she has financially, absolutely. Oh, wait, let's see what they're saying.
They're not different. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Right justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. That is all wrong. This criminal is going to live with his life. Y'all know it. They're going to live with his life. It's gone. They'll never have him back. His family can go and visit her and see her in prison. She'll be out there in no time. It's wrong. They have every evidence against her.
It's a white lady. Exactly, old mama stirring the pot there. But that's what I'm saying. This is not the family that I saw.
The police department around the country has done to our kickbacks.
Here we fucking go with this race card.
We're talking about something that we have to worry about for the rest of our lives. That woman, this ain't the last time this will happen. It ain't the last time. It'll be again. It'll be the last time.
They might be cursing. That's why they're muting them.
All these people. Drugs and more drugs. Like in 30, 40 years with drugs. People with more drugs that's going on. They get hostage for a person that killed an innocent man. Went into his house.
What hearing? She's done. There is no appeal hearing, Sandra. And no, she's sentenced.
And this is why for us, this is a really issue that has to change. We have to come together. We have to be able to create a voice. That there are systems that are set in place that allows it to be okay to kill a black man or a black child.
Oh, come on.
Walking down the street. You know, there are things that we need to change. Yeah, we will stand up. That's right. The laws have got to change. We have got to put people in office who are going to speak up and not against police department is crooked. Not only that, people need to be
Exactly, Raquel.
People need to be accountable for what they do. People go for drug deals and they get 99 years. This person would never be able to have kids, would never be able to have a wife. His mom wakes up every day, and he's not there. There's no peace and no justice. It should have been 25 to 99.
And if I can just say, y'all, that this is a systemic problem. This is the problem. Black people are not valued in this country, in this city. We are tired, and we are going to rise up. We're going to rise up against the system, and we are going to fight for our rights.
That's right.
Okay? We are tired of being treated like animals, and that we do not matter. But today, it is a new day in Dallas.
There are two mothers. There were two mothers in here that came here to support Botham Jean's mother. We are tired of getting our children getting just taken from us. This is getting tiring. And these mothers, there's a mother in there crying. Here she is, right here. Here she is. This is what you're doing. You're traumatizing our people.
Oh, give me a fucking break.
Re-traumatize every time we see another one. Every time we walk down the street, you ask us why we march. What else can we do? Are we supposed to just live?
We cannot live. We cannot just walk down the street. We have to march down the street because we are politicking for our lives. We have to politic and ask for you to give us indictments, for you to give us any type of justice. We have to fight for every single step that we get.
We ain't made it that far. If we had not got her in protest, she would not be charged at all.
So never in your life. This is the last thing I will say.
It kills a white man. You can definitely. How many years do you think that black man's going to be on again?
Can we let her speak? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
My name is Dee Crank. I'm the mother of Travis Crank, who was killed in 2017 by an Arlington police officer named Craig Roper. How many of us does it take to get justice?
What did she say the name
man
was?
Killed 22 people in El Paso, Texas, and you want me to understand that he's mental. What about my son? What about both of John? What about Christian Taylor? What about Trayvon Martin? How many of us is it going to take before you understand that our lives matter?
Our lives matter.
My life is over.
No, it's not.
What about both of mom? Where's her justice? Every Guyger gets a chance to get freedom after 10 years. And my son and both them and other sons are dead forever. We did not get justice, and this is not fair. How many of us is it going to take? There shouldn't be another mother after us. There just shouldn't be another mother.
It's okay.
But are we surprised? Like, are we surprised? Yeah, we got a murder conviction, but anything they give you, they can take it back.
Come on, why are you in fucking court in a backwards hat and a t-shirt? Get the fuck out of here. Give me a break with this race bullshit.
You know what I mean? That's why we are in the trenches, fatherhood over everyhood, brotherhood.
I'm not muting it, by the way.
If we don't get together, these officers do not get charged. When they put it through the grand jury, it's no bill. It's got to stop. Officers should be held no much.
I know it's not his family. His family is way better than this.
I'm speaking of color.
But I'm gonna explain why I'm like ridiculously mad. I'll explain it all when they're done.
This system is not designed for us. It will never work for us. We will never receive the equal justice that we deserve. And all of us are here. We're here today because we want to make changes. 10 years is not.
All right, I'm going to pause this for a second so nobody misses anything. The judge, they're fleeing to the wrong people. They're trying to blame the states. They're trying to blame the defense. They're trying to blame the police department. But both the sentence and the verdict was by a peer of non-whites. And 4 or 5 of them were black. So half the room was black. So to sit there and just come out with this stuff and make this total race and start getting people all up in an uproar when there's much more to it is completely unfair. It's a jury of your own peers. If you don't like the sentence, then I'm sorry, but be a better juror next time. I don't know what to tell you. But I'm not saying it's not a problem. I'm not saying that that she shouldn't have got more than 10 years. I said that earlier. But what I am saying is the woman made a mistake. I'm not justifying what she did. There's a lot of things that she did wrong. There's a lot of things that she could have done differently. But she made a mistake, a very big one that cost somebody's life. But you know what? If she got 100 years in jail, that's not going to change anything. If she got 100 years in jail, it's not going to bring him or anyone else back. And I'm going to put something else out there that people are not going to like. And I'm sorry, but if I wasn't me, I wouldn't say it. Botham is one of the very, very, very few that I've seen that didn't do something to cause it. That's why I asked what that woman said her son's name was, because all these quote unquote black people that get shot are usually doing something that they shouldn't be doing. Even Trayvon, I forgot his name, the kid, the cop acted stupidly and he should have done things differently. But at the same time, he shouldn't have been waving a gun around. Fake or not, nobody knew that it was a kid. My point being, you see this all the time. That a lot of these, Trayvon Martin, thank you, that a lot of these families, and I'm not saying it was justified. I'm saying that, yes, I forgot his name, sue me. That I'm not saying it's justified, but I'm saying that cops sometimes react dumb. They act wrong. And Trayvon was unarmed and not shot by a cop. Who am I thinking? The kid that was shot by a cop and had a fake gun on him. That was Trayvon. That was Trayvon. That's what I thought. Who's the one I'm thinking of then? Tamar Rice, thank you. All right, not Trayvon. Tamar Rice, thank you. That's what I was thinking of. But a lot of them, Trayvon smashed dude's face. That's what I'm saying. A lot of them did something to cause something. Or, ran from the police or the police shot him. Well, the police was justified to shoot him. So I'm just saying that a lot of cases that I've seen, there was a reason the cop shot him. They didn't just shoot him out of nowhere. This was not that type. He was one of the very few that did absolutely nothing wrong. But she made a mistake. She made a major, major mistake. And yes, she should have done more than 10 years. I agree with that. But to make this a race issue is bullshit. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she got 10 years. You call me on a what remark? A cop does not know. Yeah, I was thinking Tamar Rice. I apologize. A cop does not know that gun was fake. A cop did not know when they get reports that he was holding it around, that he was holding it up to people's heads. The cop saw the gun, didn't know it was fake, saw someone tall and shot. My son is 6'2", he's 14. He's a big dude. If he was standing far away and someone saw 6'2", they would not think he was 14. That's my point. This is not a race issue. She did not get off the way she did because she was white. This isn't about white privilege. She got off, hey John, she got off of 10 years due to the fact that it was a fucking mistake. A bad, ugly, bad mistake, but it was a fucking mistake. Period. It has nothing to do with race. She did deserve more time. I'm not saying no. I agree with you that she deserved more time. I say she should have got 20. I'm not denying that. It was a mistake. She didn't intentionally kill this man. Oh, come on. Now I can't get it back? I don't think the jury was racist. I agree, Supercell. Long Island girl, I don't believe this is a race issue. I'm sorry, I don't. I never will. I don't know why it's buffering. She had to shoot to kill. A cop shoots to kill. Rescan your channels. I need to rescan my channels. I got Court TV. The fuck?
Have been protests following a verdict. So just to go to what Julie's saying, in this situation, when listen, they're screaming no justice, no peace inside the courthouse. I mean, come on.
Right.
We have a right to be concerned. So, Ted, given the atmosphere inside the courthouse, how are they, from your experience, getting the jury out? Actually, judge is back on the bench. Hold that thought.
The friends, family, and/or loved ones of the victim of your crime have the right to make a victim impact statement to you. You don't have any obligation to respond or say anything, just to listen respectfully. And I just ask that they not make any threats or use any profanity. So I'm ready whenever you are, Mr. Herman.
We're going to get Mr. John. He's coming from across the hall.
She did jump the gun and she was 100% wrong. Damn, Amanda, I'm sorry about that. I think the judge is sick. I don't mean sick in the head, I mean like she's physically sick.
Mr. John, the floor is yours.
Vaping, you're an idiot.
I don't want to say twice or for the 100th time.
No chance to parole.
you-
Well, no.
or
She
how
could get
much
out
you've taken
early.
From us. I think you know that. But
I don't know what they're doing.
I hope you go to God with all the guilt, all the bad things you may have done in the past. Each and every one of us may have done something that we're not supposed to do. If you truly
Thank
are
you,
sorry,
Faith.
I know I can speak for myself. I forgive you, and I know if you go to God and ask Him, He will forgive you. And I don't think anyone could say it. Again, I'm speaking for myself, not even behalf of my family. But I love you just like anyone else. And
Her brother.
I'm not gonna say I hope you rot and
His
die,
brother.
just like my brother did, but I personally want the best for you. And I wasn't gonna ever say this in front of my family or anyone, but
Yes.
I don't even want you to go to jail. I want the best for you. Because I know
See?
that's exactly what both of them would want you to do. And the best would be give your life to Christ. I'm not gonna say anything else. I think giving your life to Christ would be the best thing.
He just said he doesn't even want to go into jail.
Again, I love you as a person. And I don't wish anything bad on you. I don't know if this is possible, but Can I give her a hug, please?
I think this is worse than if she would have got 25 years.
Yes.
I agree, Truth. It's the worst I've cried yet. But I absolutely agree with that. I agree, Dreamer.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think everyone's in tears. Anyone with a heart is in tears. I think everybody's crying. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's all we have.
Exactly, Ms. Jules. That's why I said that's not his family. No, that man was just raised right. As an atheist, I gotta say it. It's because he was raised right. That's power of two very good parents. So for all the atheists like me or Jews or whoever you want to call it that don't believe in Christ.
We are speechless after witnessing a hug between Botham Jean's little brother, Brant, and Amber Guyger. An embrace that lasted.
I'm not saying he's not a Christian. I'm just saying it has to do with his powerful family
of each other and sobbing tears. Ted Rollins, Julie Grant, still with me.
If you believe in Christ,
Stephen,
Pumpkin,
this is like nothing we've ever
seen in since
a Jew will say it has nothing to do with Christ.
Have you seen anything like this? You've covered so many of these cases.
No, I mean, you see versions of it, but not this.
Not to this extent.
Exactly.
Right. I will say this. We know that the Jean family is a family with a very strong
Julie, I just want to
faith.
point out that is a live look at the judge and the prosecutor's wiping tears from her face. That is Botham's mom and
the
dad
prosecutor's
speaking to
crying.
The judge and the prosecutor, what is her last name? She's the one who gave the final rebuttal. Long, thank you. Lakita Long, who gave the final rebuttal closing argument. The judge embracing the dad and now the mom. The judge looks visibly emotional, saying something into Botham Jean's mom's ear. Now they're holding hands. She's looking into her eyes.
I was thinking, isn't that a little weird?
I can't hear what she's saying, but I think we can imagine, right, Ted, that these are words of comfort.
Yeah.
Like,
Judge
why
Kemp
is
has
she
been very
doing
emotional
that?
throughout
That's
this trial.
weird.
You can see that she's expressing her feelings towards this family.
Till it's over,
Look at
Truth.
Ms. Long. She just keeps wiping her face. She keeps wiping her face. She's
Oh,
not
the
holding back
prosecutor
the
was
tears.
hysterical.
Now, Judge Kemp hugging another, this is either a family member or friend of Botham Jean.
Oh, absolutely,
And,
Kay
and we
Bronson.
believe-
Absolutely.
We believe that's the sister, I think, because I'm looking at that hairpin, and that's Alyssa Finley. And the judge taking the time. This is maybe a little unusual, Julie,
Very.
to see a judge being so physically affectionate.
Very, Seema, very unusual. Everything we've seen with this case is unusual. This is not typical at all. And you can see how gracious this beautiful family is, seeming so happy that the judge took the time to comfort them and express her feelings to them. his dad especially touching his heart at a couple moments.
Do you notice that Jason Hermes just grabbed a bunch of tissues? I think he's bringing them out to the front row, perhaps to one of the family members. He just grabbed them.
But technically speaking, though,
yeah, on the stand,
go ahead.
Saying I love
the
you
judge
to
had
Amber Guyger,
nothing
saying,
to do with any part of it. She
you
didn't
to
have
Amber Guyger,
anything
and
to
then
do with the.
asking to
She
give
was
her a
just
hug
like a
and giving her
mediator,
a hug, embracing
so
her
she kind of
twice.
could hug
Let me
them
just say that
without
this is a
like it
family
coming
that is
against
a
them.
Christian family, and Brant Jean exemplifies Christianity, because at the heart of Christianity is forgiveness and love, and he exemplified exactly Christianity today in this Dallas County courtroom by forgiving his brother's killer.
Julie, I just want to expound on something you said before I get a comment from Ted, and that is, this is from our producer, Botham Jean's little brother forgives Amber and loves her just like everyone else. He does not want her to go to jail, tells her to give her life to Christ because that's what Botham would have wanted, and that was all said before the hug while he was on the stand. Ted.
We witnessed
I
something
agree, Al.
extraordinary here. The fact that he didn't tell his parents, too, or his family that he was going to do this.
Oh, that Brant was going to say all this.
Yeah. Just amazing. Now you see Judge kept coming back.
See the judge walking back into the courtroom, and she's got a book. Maybe it's some statute.
It's a
or
Bible.
maybe it's a Bible. Yeah, okay. Wow. Sorry. I didn't know what that. Yeah, I thought maybe it was a statue, but it looks like the Bible. Let's listen if we can hear. She's reading the Bible to Amber Guyger. Here we go.
And this is where you start. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whosoever, that whosoever, and say, and
Tori, I'm right there with you, Tori. I said the same thing. He's definitely an amazing young man, no doubt. And I'm not gonna lie, he's a much better human being than I could ever be. Much better human being than I think most of us could ever be. But then again, she also may be getting extra with the judge because Amber was a police officer who served for the country. I mean, who served for the city as a, employee of the state. Maybe that's why it's a little odd, because she was a cop. I just kind of thought of that. But maybe that's why the judge seems a little weird or a little
right
more
now,
lenient.
Judge Kemp is reading a Bible verse to Amber Guyger, and I am going to read what we believe she is reading, and that's the Gospel of John 3:16.
Good job,
For
whoever
God
said that.
So loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. And that is a live look at the judge hugging the defendant.
I'm
Amber
telling you, I
Guyger.
think it's because she
Amber
was a
Guyger,
cop.
who has been convicted of murder in the first degree and been sentenced to 10 years for killing Botham Jean.
Because it becomes different, because she was
Just
a
look
cop
at
that
the
probably
judge,
stood in front of
we're
this
trying
judge,
you can't hear what she's
as a
saying, but
witness
Julie, can you
in,
just
a
describe
traffic
what
court
you're
or
seeing?
something.
Oh, most certainly. I mean, this is something like I've never seen before. The compassion being displayed by Judge Kemp here for this defendant, this convicted murderer, Amber Guyger. And she's kind of piggybacking on what we saw from Brant Jean, Botham Jean's younger brother, that Christianity, I mean, that Bible verse, that is perhaps the most famous, most quoted Bible verse.
Well, if you don't mind,
It is
can
so
you tell
well
me what you
known.
know about that?
Certainly. It's a way of sort of summarizing the
I
gospel
agree,
and
John.
the central theme of Christianity, love and forgiveness. That
Absolutely,
God
it
loved
does,
the world
slippery
so
slope.
much, He gave His only
Absolutely.
Son, Jesus. And if you believe
It shouldn't,
in God,
but
if you
it
have faith
does.
in God, you won't perish. You will go to heaven and live in eternal happiness. That's
I'm
what
not saying that
Christians
more
believe.
judges shouldn't
And
be
this is
like this,
John
but I'm
3:16.
saying that
Sometimes you see it on T-shirts and
I
things.
think
or
that's
people
why
have
this
keychains with
particular
it, just as a
judge is doing
reminder
it.
of forgiveness and love.
And Ted, you were saying you were very familiar with this.
Well, it's the, you watch a sporting event, people hold up the signs, John 3:16, so it's something that people put out there. I'm just floored at the this whole,
all
last
of it.
hour.
All of it.
Crazy.
All of it. They're hugging again.
Yeah.
Look at this.
And the way the judge hugs, it's, you know how you have people who hug you and just like, hey, good morning, hug. This is like an embrace. This is like a comforting hug.
Right.
This judge is holding her up.
Yeah. Wow.
And there, I believe she goes. Amber Guyger. Off to jail and then to prison. Well, she'll probably be in a holding cell tonight or be taken to the local jail before she is taken to prison. Look at the tissues. Look at the tissues being, everyone is grabbing not just one, but several tissues. And there you have it. Amber Guyger sentenced to 10 years in prison for the death of Botham Jean. We're going to take a break. More on the other side.
We got one of those new purple mattresses, and it is amazing.
Well, that was kind of epic. I'm still a little shocked, and I absolutely agree. We need more people like him. Some people say it has to do with religion. I think it has to do with excellent parenting plus Catholicism, whatever. Either way. He's a better human than I can ever be. I will tell you that right now, and I'll openly admit that. Absolutely better human being than I could ever be. I don't have a purple mattress. I almost bought one. Good moral compass, absolutely. And maybe, just maybe, and I don't believe in religion, but I do believe in fate. And maybe there's a reason for everything. And maybe him dying helped more officers not be so trigger happy. Maybe it's going to set a precedence for the future of cops being so trigger happy. Is it possible that it could be something positive? Like, instead of looking at his death of everything so negative, maybe we can make it so positive. I don't believe in religion, but I believe in fate. I believe that everything happens for a reason, but I don't believe God does it. I just believe that's the universe. That everything happens for a reason. You make a left for a reason. You make a right for a reason. You got pregnant at that reason, but that has nothing to do with God Almighty or anything like that. But eventually I would look at it, John, that everything happens for a reason. But I'll give you an example of what I mean, and I will try not to cry, but I'll give you an example of what I mean. So my dad died in 2014. Miserable that my dad died. Cannot even handle it. I still cry all the time about it. And I miss him every day. But him and my mom, if he would have stayed alive, they would have eventually had money problems. Well, then again, maybe not, because my dad wouldn't have had Alzheimer's. But it just seemed like they may not have the retirement that they were looking for, and they couldn't do a lot of stuff that other people their age would have been able to do. So my dad ended up dying at 69 years old and left my mom at 70 with, a life insurance policy, but she couldn't do anything. She's not rich. And what happened was my mom met this other guy. And my mom met this guy who they travel around the world now. They've been together probably 3 years, 2.5 years, 3 years. He takes her all over the world. They have the most amazing relationship. If my dad hadn't have died, she would not be living her oldest years with somebody traveling the world, because her and my dad wouldn't have been able to afford it. So it got to the point where you look at it as everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a certain reason. Even if it hurts you, at one point, it could end up being so much better, later on in life. And that's what I'm saying. Just everything happens for a reason. And to me, it really has nothing to do with, but your dad's life is worth more than money. Absolutely, it's worth more than money. But I'm saying that my mom was such a good mom in so many ways and lived a good life. I mean, she had her issues, we know that. But she lived a good life, and she lived a solid life. And, to have to struggle at 70-something years old, not good. But to know that, just everything happens for a reason. Oh, it was a horrible disease, horrible. And he went quick. No, my mom is not happy or my dad's dead. Let's not slip this. Let's not change what I said. That is not what I said. It's totally not what I said at all. Most of you guys understood what I meant. They're just, I can't watch this again. I will cry again. You want to hear it again? I'm going to cry again. I think most people understood what I meant.
Go to God with all the guilt, all the bad things you may have done in the past. Each and every one of us.
Exactly. Thank you, Amelia.
That we're not supposed to do. If you truly are sorry, I know I can speak for myself. I forgive you. And
thanks, Nanny.
I know if you go to God and ask him, he will forgive you. And I don't think anyone could say it. Again, I'm speaking for myself, not even behalf of my family. But I love you just like anyone else. And I'm not gonna say I hope you rot and die just like my brother did, but I personally want the best for you. And I
right,
wasn't
Tori?
gonna ever say this in front of my family or anyone, but
exactly, Supercell. And Aletha, I know you know what I meant.
To go to jail. I want the best for you because I know that's exactly what both of them would want you to do. And the best would be give your life to Christ. I'm not gonna say anything else. I think giving your life to Christ would be the best thing that both of them would want you to do. Again, I love you as a person. And I don't wish anything bad on you. I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug?
His parents must be so proud of him.
Please?
Yes.
Thank you guys. Now I'm crying again. I didn't have to watch this.
That is something we've never seen before. I'm still with Julie Grant and Ted Rollins. Both of you have said to me that you believe that that hug and that moment is now perhaps going to dictate how the city of Dallas handles the verdict.
Perhaps. I think there's a stark difference in what's happening in the courtroom and then what's going on inside the courthouse. And who knows if those individuals who want to be protesting today know what just occurred in the courtroom with Botham Jean's brother saying he forgives and loves the woman who who killed his beloved brother. In this moment, this is a remarkable moment. I mean, this was the moment of this trial. Really and truly, this moment we're seeing here. This is so unusual. This young man, Brant Jean, just exemplifies Christianity, love and forgiveness.
He just
for the woman who
exemplifies a
killed
good
his
human.
brother, Bo.
Forget the
Ted, what do you think? I know
Christianity.
you've covered
Just he
cases,
exemplifies a
inside
great
the
human.
courtroom for years. You've seen in all the high-profile cases that have captivated the country's attention for years. Have you seen anything like this ever?
No, I mean, I've never seen a situation where a young man so eloquently gets up on the stand, and you're expecting him to say what, and he started out, you'll never know. Or
I'm not against religion. I'm just saying,
okay,
he's a wonderful human being.
They were so close, and wow, I mean, what he did right there, forgiving her, hugging her, all of that, I think it does diffuse on some level the anger, because if you juxtapose what we just witnessed there, the emotions were so high on both sides, right? Outside the courtroom, those emotions were as real as can be, and every being encouraged to come to the courthouse at 6:30, and for what appeared to be a protest with a fist up, and then you see that, and I think it's going to be more of a vigil and more of a celebration of Botham's life. And frankly, that kid will never be forgotten, and his mark that he made today is going to be talked about for a very long time and referred to for a very long time.
So what I'm saying, all right, and then I really do have to go. I'm surprised my kids aren't calling like, Mom, you got to pick us up. What I'm saying is that I'm not saying that it can't be Christianity, but a Jew can do the same thing and it would have nothing to do with Christ. That's what I'm talking about. I understand that everybody is talking about, he's a great Christian, including the news people, and that's great. But if a Jew did it, it wouldn't have anything to do with Christ. It would have to do with being a good human. That's all I'm saying.
There's going to be protest at 6:30 at the courthouse.
So this is what we are hoping that will happen, is that on the courthouse steps at 6:30 p.m. We're not sure if it's Central.
No, I'm not going live later.
At that point, Central. Thank you. So 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 Eastern.
Thank you, Huckleberry.
We imagine that the family will also be present, and hopefully the family, after that display inside the courtroom,
it's because he's a great human being.
To calm
it's
down
a great moral
protesters
compass,
and perhaps turn this
then it would
into
be a good Jew. Exactly.
Coming
a
together.
Vigil.
Yeah, I mean,
a vigil, a coming together.
The judge is hugging both sides. It was incredible. I mean, if just one of these things would have happened, we'd be like, oh my gosh, what an incredible day. And boom, 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 in succession.
And that was right when the judge is talking
all right, let me put it differently then. I'm going to put it the way everyone can understand what I'm not putting down Christianity. But when you focus on Christianity, you're saying that you have to be Christian to do what he did. You have to be Christian to be that type of person, and that's not true. It's a belief in humanity. It's being a good person. It's having a good moral compass. It's having a great family and good values and good morals. And that could be from any religion. It could be from any, faith. So that's all I'm saying. He happened to be Christian, but you don't have to be Christian in order to do what he did. Granted, we've never seen it before, but we've never seen it from a Christian either. That's all I'm trying to say. It has nothing to do with religion, everything about being raised the right way. Exactly. And if you believe in religion, then you can say it has to do with religion. I'm not saying no, but I'm saying that it has everything to do with being raised properly and a good moral compass and having a good way. And, he could have been from any religion. It doesn't mean that you have to be Christian in order to believe this way. You have to believe in Christ to be like this, because you don't. And most Christians aren't like him either. So it's not just being Christian. It's having a good moral compass. That's what I'm saying. He's just a wonderful human being, whatever religion he is. He's just a good fucking human being, plain and simple. CNN said 10 years in parole, 5, possibly. All right, I am shutting down. I have to go mow this lawn, and it's getting cooler, a little cooler out, not much though. So I love you guys, and that's it. Somehow I have a feeling I'm missing picking up my kids that I have to do. Active humanity that makes you realize the world lost a really great inhabitant. Oh, I absolutely agree with that. Or it's a deep part, the center of the faith. I get it though. I'm just saying, if you're not, thank you, Nanny. What I'm saying, I know it's not coming out right. I'm just saying that it's, if that was my son, I would be so proud. He's a better human than most of us. I couldn't do it. I'd be hateful. I'd be angry. I wouldn't, probably be disrespectful, but I would be angry. I would be hurt. How could you kill my brother? So for that, he's an amazing human being. He just is. It doesn't matter what religion he comes from. He's just an amazing human being. Everyone give Crazy Nurse Granny purple hearts. And since someone guessed it already, the next case I am doing, which I'm going to start working on tonight, which is why I'm not going live, because I want to get a video out, because I don't know exactly when jury selection is going to be done. It's going to start, is a Teresa Beavers case. And again, if you hadn't heard, she was a doctor that was killed by her husband for a life insurance policy. It is a death penalty case out of Florida. They expect it to last about 5 months. And it's a pretty interesting case. There's a lot of coverage on it. So that's it. I'm going to put together a video tonight, and that's it. Right now, I have to go mow the lawn and probably go pick up the kids from football practice. So I will see you guys later. Thank you for spending the last couple of hours with me. It's been a trip. It was actually 4 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 hours. Shave your leg. Oh, shut up, vaping. So I want to thank you, Crazy Nurse Granny. I want to thank you, Daily Poppins. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Or I'll probably drop, Patreons will get the video tonight when it's done. And then you guys will get it tomorrow. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.